pretty used to having me eat on stream at this point.
Either you or Toki.
Yeah, I know, right?
I can see about... Let's see.
Marvel is doing a series now with Scarlet Witch of WandaVision.
WandaVision.
Oh yeah, that looks really good.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
It's basically like I think it takes place after Infinity War. No.
Yeah, it would. Well, I don't know if it'd have to. When did Scarlet Witch die?
Both of them died.
Because she's in it.
Well, Vision dies at the in Infinity War because he's the embodiment of, I can't remember which stone he is in the MCU, but he's the Yellow Stone.
Gotcha.
And then that's when Scarlet Witch goes nuts, and she actually holds her own against Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet, which was terrifying to watch. It's like, yeah, in case anyone was doubting how powerful this character is, she doesn't need any fucking rocks to put him down. Because that was the whole thing with Thor not taking him out when he could have, was because Scarlet Witch had immobilized him, and Thor took his hand off instead of his head. And then we get drunk Thor.
I hate all of you.
You like it. You love us.
Why? Why you hate me?
I don't. I love you.
I love you too.
Yeah, but you got my panda hat now too.
I did. Mm-hmm. International Hat Day got panda hat.
Mm-hmm.
I do not like how this camera is so blurry on my side. I don't understand. Whatever. We have to figure that out later.
Guys, legitimately, this is the hat I wear every day. I aggress people with this panda hat. Also, I haven't finished eating dinner. I still have one more crab rangoon sitting looking at me.
Eat it.
I'm literally making
Chat's gonna be really mad. I'm gonna be here. Sorry.
I'm literally making the stream overlay as we're talking.
He's all good. He's all good. Hey, Elmist. Hey, Doom. Screwball pins. Black flag.
I don't know.
It's like a ghost on the screen.
Where am I putting this thing? Let's put it right there. That's a good place to put it.
Who is this person in the panda hat? Ooh, Mass Effect 3 or Destiny?
Destiny.
I don't know. Mass Effect is pretty good too.
Nope.
Mark, it's like, is this even a question?
I don't like squad-based RPGs.
Is it a squad-based RPG?
It is. It's what I would consider like the third-person player type RPG. I'm not a fan of the mechanics of it. But Green's changing her camera up there.
I'm just zooming.
No, I know. I just out of the corner of my eye, it goes, like, what are you doing? No changing right now.
Orchid looks so nice and crisp and really well framed, so I'm trying to match.
Because I use my phone.
You know what, bitch?
iPhone 11 Max Pro bullshit.
Let's see. Is there a way to do push to talk with Skype?
No, maybe.
I don't know. I imagine there probably would be.
The fake shui feels off, Blue.
Hmm?
Almost is demanding you fix things.
Well, fucking, you know what? This is what happens when everyone wants a camera and I have to entertain family. Your guys are the ones
who are like, where's Orchid's camera? I want to see her face. This is your doing. This is your own fault.
I am not sad about it at all.
Yeah, I'm like, this is none of our doing. This is the person in that corner right there. That person right there.
Don't point at me. It's not my doing.
Listen, I have to get used to the mirror image effect. All right. But what that does mean...
selling oath breakers?
Toki,
thanks,
Toki's hunting you in the background.
Toki, yeah. Hi, Toki. Toki, say how to chat. You love chat. Chat's your favorite. We're like gonna be out of frame because this.
Hey, Cordell. Thanks. That's huge. I'm hoping that you've noticed that it's gotten better over the time that you've been listening to it. The house flipper bunker lore.
Screwball. We had that yesterday.
Oh, you'll like this. I found a new beanie.
It looks exactly like your old beanie.
No, it's completely blue. The old beanie is black. It's completely different, and it's also a completely different fabric.
Are you going to take the beanie off so we can see your head? I'm not certain you actually have a head underneath the beanie.
No, this beanie is super comfortable. I'm going to blame Khan for introducing me to this style.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this is the Sport Tech one that he uses. I went and actually did an internet dive and found the supplier, and I might have bought a couple of them.
I have 3 of them. It's amazing.
Yeah, so the Destiny Loot Crate, the sweater is apparently very, very stealable. My wife won't let me have mine back. But the cool thing is the whiskey glasses. I like those.
What is going on with my laptop? We're just going to restart you. Power. Restart. Weirdo. Still way back on episode 36. Oh man, Cordell, you're still back there with... You haven't even seen my introduction. That's before... That's with Will.
I hope your connection's wonky. Is that my side or...
No, I'm getting it too.
Okay. Toki is very happy with the belly rubs.
That's it. Show's over.
Toki's just like, I'm not moving.
Why can't I redeem points for Kitty Gogurt? Churu.
Why can't I redeem points for Kitty Gogurt?
Can you guys not hear me?
I can hear you.
We can hear you. You're breaking up a little bit every now and then.
Weird.
You can't redeem points for Kitty Gogurt because Thrally redeemed all the points on my channel for everything. Like, Twitch sent out all of their, like, this was your 2020 Twitch, whatever, thing today. So I got this is your channel in review, and, like, King Thrall, that's his, like, Twitch handle, redeemed all the points on my channel, more than anyone else, by far, and that was because he redeemed all of the hydrates on my channel. So many.
He's very concerned about your health.
No, he just wants to spam hydrates because he thinks it's really funny. So
it is kind of funny.
It is very funny. Not even mad about it. I did get to call him out on Twitter about it though, so that was funny.
He just
happens
knows
when
how
you don't drink
thirsty
water.
you are.
I have water right here. I have tea actually in the kitchen that I was gonna go get, but I haven't done that yet.
You know what I have?
Whiskey. Oh, you have LaCroix? I have LaCroix in the kitchen.
And it's
Which one is
key
it?
lime.
Oh, that's not a bad one.
Blue, I want to go get my LaCroix.
Okay.
Go get your LaCroix.
I'm gonna go to the kitchen. Oh no, my hat is like locked to my desk. Hydrate. Screwball. Do. Orchid makes everyone thirsty. I mean, thank you. That's a really nice compliment. I appreciate it.
You don't understand LaCroix?
It's a drink for white girls.
It's just carbonated water.
Yeah. But I have hibiscus LaCroix, and it's really good.
Really?
I have like 4 cases of it. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look and see if we can find some of that. That sounds like
I got it
pretty
at
good.
Safeway.
Oh yeah, no, we buy. My wife gets me different carbonated waters because it's basically like it's just water. It's one of the only. I like the carbonation, and so she always finds like random ones, and she's like, "Did you want this?" I'm like, "Get it one. I'll try pretty much any of them once. There's very few that I won't like drink again. I actually just like the just plain.
You just like plain water?
Mm-hmm.
That's
seltzer.
boring.
Well, yeah, it's not. Except it's not really a seltzer because it doesn't have the. I don't know. I got used to it while we were over in Italy because they all have sparkling water. That's what they serve at the restaurants and stuff, and everyone drinks it over there. And ever since then, I'm like, this is just. I like the carbonation. It's like drinking a soda, but it's not gonna kill you
without the guilt.
Yeah. Hands. I might need your help. Oh wait, maybe I found it.
Okay. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Yeah, okay. That driver's really out of date. That's probably why.
Your webcam driver?
Mm-hmm. I don't know why, but apparently it rolled it back to 2018 driver.
What?
Yeah, I don't understand. Update this. Where did I hide you?
See, it looks like this. Hibiscus. This is high on it.
Looks like what?
It says
hibiscus.
Like this.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
It says high on it. Like literally says high on it. You guys really want the fucking panda hat? Hi, Irish.
Irish.
It's your second playthrough of Mass Effect? Get good. I've done like 18 playthroughs of it.
Jesus. Did you romance every time?
Yeah. It's a romance sim.
Cole has never romanced in it.
What? She's doing it wrong.
She said the only one that she wants to romance is a race you can't romance. I don't know what it is.
She wants to romance a What?
I don't remember what race it is. I just know it's a race you can't romance, and that's why she's never actually done it.
In Mass Effect 3?
I can message her and ask, although she hasn't.
Wants to, is it Javik? Is that who she wants to romance? Ask her if that's who she wants to romance. Okay. I will do Mass Effect lore, guys.
So you said that you said Audacity had
Mass Effect lore.
We had a Mass Effect lore, but we can do another one if you want.
I will only do Mass Effect lore. This is what you hired me for, right? Just kidding.
I'm not going to answer that question. Where am I looking for dark mode?
It was the panda hat.
Is it in preferences?
Mm-hmm.
Was that green that agreed? I'm not watching you guys.
Sure.
I hate
my favorite romance in Mass Effect, Thane Krios is my favorite, and then Garrus Vicarian is my second favorite. But the one I always default romance is Liara Tassoni. She's my third favorite.
Who is she? Sorry, I haven't never played.
Liara is the blue one.
Ooh.
She's the pretty one. She's kind of like the pretty blue alien that you come across.
I mean, I'm into Awoken, so blue alien is not. Let me
get a picture of her so you can, because you'd
Doesn't she have the weird helmet?
You see her. She's one of the Asari. She's the pretty blue aliens.
She's got the cool looking helmet.
Those are squid tentacle heads.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I know who she is.
Yeah.
Ah, there I found it. Ooh, a high contrast. Oh dear God, that's terrifying. We're not doing that. That's terrifying. Turn it back.
Liara versus Tali. I mean, like, Tali is okay, but I think the Quarians are space racists. But that's just me.
Green, you're right. That is not that good of a mode.
Which mode?
The dark. Ah, there it goes. Okay. It's classic mode.
That's for Audacity.
For Audacity. Okay. You guys ready?
Oh, I need show notes.
Yeah.
That'd be helpful.
Probably be helpful just a bit.
We're here to do a show. I forgot.
I mean, we could talk about Mass Effect and romancing. And did you see that Rindle challenged me to do Lady's voice from Devil May Cry 5?
No, I didn't see that. Most things. Yeah. I read that as most thighs in Mass Effect are racist.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know how thighs can be racist, but cool. I mean, Thane has the best thighs. I love his thighs so much. Where is my folder?
Where is your folder? Do you need
a... for it? Focus Fire Chat. There it is.
My puppies are being really pathetic.
Oh no.
Julie sent me a photo of them.
What am I hawking tonight? Am I hawking aware? Cute puppies.
Mom abandoned us.
They've taken over the couch.
I love it. I love it so much.
That's not what I wanted to send. Why did that not send?
They're so cute.
There.
The puppers, they are adorables.
Yes. They are also buttheads.
Oh, thank you.
Caleb has had this obsession with just staying away all day until Julie gets home. Like, I don't see him. He goes and hides somewhere.
My dogs do that too. And then as soon as she gets home, he all of a sudden like, I want your attention. I need pets. I'm like, you wanted nothing to do with me all day.
Yep. Buddy's, on the other hand, will be he'll be in the room with me. He'll sit on the couch behind me, or he'll try to get in my lap. Like, he's all about being close, but Caleb does not care.
Orchid, let's do... Let's see.
What are we doing?
Trying to figure out which sponsor to do.
Audible.
You want to do Audible?
Yeah.
We can do Audible.
I started actually...
Did you just paste it into our chat so I can find it easily?
Yep.
Because I don't have the sponsor stuff pulled up. Because I keep losing it.
I'll include the link in the show notes, but here's the details.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So...
And then I am good on Audacity.
Julie and I started reading Think Like a Monk, which is on the bestsellers list. Actually, a really good book. Okay. Audacity up.
Thanks, Benz. Yep.
I'm pulling mine up.
Okay.
Okay. Ate.
All right. 3, 2, 1, click.
Perfect.
Ate.
Ooh, it's orange if you're in dark mode. Did you know Audacity has dark mode?
No.
Yeah, but the toolbars are absolutely terrifying if it's in dark mode.
Also,
I don't want it to be terrifying.
No, it's like black,
so
but then
added,
all
you can
all
add
of them
colors
are like
to your
brown.
waveform now. You can
What?
either you can either be traditional blue, black, red, or green. So if you have multiple tracks that you're dealing with, why? Because why not? It's actually really...
Yeah, Orchid, you're actually more ahead of me than in this game because I have no idea what she just said. So is this the squiggle things that go up when I talk? Yeah, okay.
When you're talking.
Okay, those are the little seismographs.
The squiggles are your waveform.
Yeah, I got that. Why do you need to change the color? Like, does it change its color like from different... who cares? No. Okay, Green. That sounds amazing. I'm very excited for you.
It's like, why would you make your computer RGB? It's because you want to be elite. You have elite audio.
It's not because I want to be elite. Oh my gosh.
Elite audio.
It is not elite audio. It's for editing.
All right, I'm gonna kick open the back up
because you want to go fast. If you have different color waveforms, your audio is 5% faster. It gives you 5 extra horsepower.
It's exactly why I pick Luigi in Mario Kart.
Pick Luigi. No, it's all about Rosalina because... Wow.
Rosalina hides things in very odd places. I'm just going to put that out there. If you've ever not Rosalina. No, wait. Who is it in Smash Brothers? Is it Peach? That has the tennis club and the golf club and the baseball bat, and it's like, Peach, you don't have a backpack and you're wearing a very small dress. So where are these items coming from?
I mean, better to not ask questions.
Yeah, it's just it was like, oh man. All right, anyways. Ready? Ready?
Yes.
Welcome to Focus Fire Chat, recorded live on January 15th, 2021 over on twitch.tv/FocusFireChat. As always, I want to give a big shout out to our live chat here with us tonight. Thank you so much for joining us once again. This week's episodes are going to be focused around exploring the lore book Legacy's Lament. This particular episode will serve as what we have come to call the intro session of the week's exploration. Before we go any further, however, let's run through a quick introduction of who all we have with us on the show. As always, this is your host, Blue Crew 86.
Then this is the apparently elite green-eyed music lover.
This is the panda hat wearing, hey, it's Orchid.
And for those who are not in the live stream, we actually have Orchid on cam, so we can make sure that she's paying attention to us.
Yeah. Actually, I actually have to pay attention tonight. I have to be fully present.
She's been trying to get fired from the podcast for the last couple of weeks, and so we just kind of upped the ante and made it to where she has to be on.
It's my 90-day probationary period is over, as Chapman said. So now I have to upgrade to face cam, and I'm wearing a panda hat tonight. So,
but we were also informed that
cute.
panda hat is worn like all the time, right?
The panda hat is actually my hat that I wear outside when it's cold. So this is what I look like all the time, guys. This isn't just a one-time thing. This is every day. This is every day, Orchid. Congratulations. Yeah, you see what I look like when I go outside in the morning.
Except for the headphones.
Except for the headphones underneath. That's not usually there.
But they blend in quite well. They're white, just really, like your hat.
They're really bulky, though. I don't really like that part.
Too bad you don't have like the little pull on the tail of the hat where it just goes.
Oh, and make the ears go up. Oh, I want
like
pair of those.
The Pikachu hats.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I saw BTS in like a Run BTS episode that had that. You could like pull on them and they made their ears go for like a question and answer thing. It was really cute. I wanted.
Yeah. There's a video of like a grandfather doing that, like this really, really elderly man, and he's just so happy because he's watching himself in like a mirror doing it. It's so cute. Happiness in hat form.
I mean, Black Flag said the truth in the chat, so he also I think broke Orchids.
Mm-hmm.
Not repeating it.
So, Orchid, do you have any special announcements for us this episode?
I do. If you'd be so kind as to visit thelorenetwork.com, where you can find us alongside many impressive lore content creators. You can also find our information at the Lore Network on Twitter, and you can follow us at Focus Fire Chat, also on Twitter, and let us know your thoughts on our weekly lore roundups, both for podcast and for YouTube. You can also leave us a 5-star review over on iTunes, which really, really helps us for visibility for the podcast, so other people can enjoy talking about panda hats.
And BTS.
And BTS, because that's apparently what we're talking about right now.
I mean,
so, we could do a lot worse, so.
This is true.
This is why you tune in every week, right? It's not for Destiny lore, it's for panda hats.
Wait, we're going to talk about Destiny lore?
But not anymore, we don't.
Oh, okay. We're going to talk about the house flipper bunker theories, right?
We're getting some of that house flipper lore.
And how Peach actually holds all of the items she holds in Smash Brothers.
Yeah, that's man.
Guys, she's got no pockets in that dress.
Yeah, there's some dark secrets about Smash Brothers that we can get into. But, so Legacy's Lament, Orchid, actually, you guys, I'm going to give you an opportunity to plug your other podcast here, because you guys did Legacy's Lament, right? Pretty recently,
we did
right?
Legacy's Lament before the end of the year, on Guardians of Lore, another Destiny lore podcast where we also talk about BTS and panda hats. There is a common denominator with one of the hosts, so it might not be the podcast, it might be me. I'm so sorry.
So, I mean, I guess for those who haven't had a chance to know, or who don't know what Legacy's Lament is, it's the lore book that's attached to pretty much the quest that unlocks the Lament, which actually, now that I'm thinking about it, you guys also did a reading of that card as well, didn't you?
We did. Yeah, we did that as a little lore right after we finished Legacy's Lament. So that was a separate episode.
So, so really what the entries in Legacy's Lament cover is really the story. I guess I'm going to stop myself. If you don't know what Legacy's Lament is about, I'm going to just give you a general spoiler. I don't know if there's many people out there who don't know the conclusion of this story, but, in case you don't know the history of Banshee, go read that yourself and then come back and listen to the conversation, because there's really no way to talk about the story of this one without diving into that. I don't think it's really spoiler anymore because it's been a while since it came out, but just in case you haven't had that reveal, it's a really good one. I liked it. But going forward, the Legacy's Lament lore book is really a revelation of Banshee's story and the connection that he has to Clovis Bray, as well as a period of about 25 days. I think it actually was 25 days, 10 hours, and 46 minutes. That was basically the conclusion of the European presence of Clovis Bray. It is the closing of the gates, really, in more than one sense, that occurred. We have a big cast. Actually, the cool thing about the cast in Legacy's Lament is one of the ways that you uncover the entries is by finding the dead exos throughout Europa. Those are also the exos, for a large majority of them, that it is talking about. I will note, or I did make a note, the exos are not unique. Like you uncover the entries in order. It doesn't matter which exo you touch, because there was, like, I think I got Hector's entry in Asterian Abyss, and Green, I think you said you got it in Cadmus. Were you the one I was talking to? I think that was
where the lost sector that has the clarity. Yeah.
So so that is one thing that I was like, I was curious if that was going to be the case, because it would have been very interesting to see specific entries tied to specific areas, I think, but probably would have taken a lot more programming. But as far as, like, before we jump into, like, the characters or anything like that, do you guys have anything from, like, a overarching summary that you want to throw in there?
Yeah, do you want to go ahead, Green?
I was just going to say that the common thread throughout the whole thing is primarily Elsie, but it also follows Clovis in one shape or another.
Yeah, for the most part, it's Clovis 1 until the very, like, I think it's like the second to last.
Mm-hmm.
Second to last card. The other thing is the entries are not in chronological order, which I found very interesting. I personally reordered them so they would be in chronological order and then read them, and it makes it make a bit more sense. But when you actually get the lore book itself, it's kind of jumping back and forth over places. What about you, Orchid? I know you have opinions about the ending, and
I mean, I don't know. I mean, the book it's really about, it's about Clovis, one, like, kind of divorcing himself from Clovis himself and becoming, like, Banshee in the end, and, like, really kind of discovering and deciding, like, who he really wants to be, and saying, no, I don't want this future that's been pre-planned for me, and really deciding that, like, I don't know, it's taking this thing that's been decided and then saying no and throwing it away. And then it's also Elsie discovering more about herself, because she also gets all of these memories that she's lost, which is a really important part of the story that people kind of gloss over sometimes, because she has all these hidden memories that have been taken away from her, that when she actually gets No Time to Explain out of her grandfather's office, that's actually, like, her lost memory banks are in his office and they've been locked away, and so she actually gets those back. So I think that's really important to mention, because a lot of people, like, don't realize that.
Yeah, everyone makes fun of Banshee for 44 resets.
Yeah, she's had like 800.
Yeah, she's had 815 at least, I think, not including the final fight against the Vex. that is detailed here.
Because Clovis is reprogramming her or trying to reprogram her each time he resets her.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, but my point is like everyone's like, oh, Banshee's crazy because he's got 44. It's like, yeah, oh.
But I don't
know why Banshee doesn't have as many memories. Like he has so many memory issues compared to all the other Exos, though.
We do or we don't?
We do figure that out.
We also figure out why Banshee has not gone insane, is even though he's well over the acceptable number, because I think, what was it, from the Stephen Fry the Fry files, it's like 20, I think, if I remember that number correctly, and he's at 44, and everyone's like, well, that explains why he's crazy. And it's like, actually, this book also does a good job of explaining why he's actually still able to have some facilities there, because he was not made like a normal Exo. He was made to be a Bray Exo, which is also, I don't think this is where we get the information about Elsie's Exo chassis, but it's but Elsie's chassis was built customized to Elsie, whereas all the other Exos were basically like factory stamped pressed. Like they all came out, the same. Elsie's and Banshee, and if you want to go down the theory of all the others in the Bray families, their Exos would have been custom made.
Hers is based on her actual body, if
Correct.
I recall.
Elsie
the
was
audio file
Elsie was a looker,
the body
apparently.
in the snow.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, Elsie was thick.
Yeah, she was. Even Grandma defends her for her.
Yeah.
Like, she gets called out. I love that. I love that card.
Yep.
Grandma defends Elsie for her thickness.
For her thickness. Elsie's got the thickness.
Yeah, Black Flag.
She's down with the thickness.
Black Flag confirmed it. It was one of the dead Exos that you scanned that has the. I'm trying to remember. I think it was one of the female Exos was complaining that she couldn't get. She was having trouble like getting used to her chassis, and she was like, Elsie, they custom built her. But real quick, just to jump through the major characters, even though they're not really main characters. In alphabetical order, they're all Exos, except for all the main characters are Exos, except for the Clovis Bray AI. We have two secondary characters who are not Exos. But the Exos, really quick, are Anjoli 7, Clovis 1, which we'll come back and talk about him for sure, Clovis Bray AI, Elsie Bray in her Exo form, Hector 6, which, Green, I think you will have some interesting comments about Hector. Nox 4, which Nox actually has a very interesting connection as well that we'll touch on, I think, a little bit later. Mia 9, is it Noah? Noe? How would you pronounce that one?
I think we called it, when Elmas and I did it, I think we said Noe.
Noe?
But,
okay, so Noe 2.
I think it could just be no, but
no.
I think we said Noe. No. Yeah. I think we said Noe 2 is what we said.
Noe 2, Reba 3, which she has a really interesting little connection in the story. Una 8, Win 1, and then Wesley 3. There's to be fair, a lot of them don't have like a super amount of detail in them, but the ones that do, and the little breadcrumbs that we do get given, there's some pretty cool like introductions and kind of relationships that are tied into there. The secondary characters, just real quick, is Dr. Esteban Ruiz. He is literally in the story for about a sentence or two. And then, of course, Clovis Bray himself, who Clovis is technically in it for, I think, part of an entry. And it's mostly him. It's mostly mentioned through Elsie's eyes. But to kind of go back real quick, Clovis 1, I think I'll hold off on talking about him for right now. Anjoli 7, we didn't get anything about Anjoli, so I put the name on there just in case it pops back up. Elsie obviously is the Exo Stranger. Hector 6, Green, do you want to talk about Hector and Nox at this point, or do you want me to?
Yeah, Hector is Micah 10, as we know her now, but Micah Abram from the book, Your Friend Micah Abram, that's their father, or one of their fathers, because Micah's fathers has a dual pair. And I believe Hector isn't he the psychologist?
He is, yes. He was the one who brought Micah to Europa after the other father had been there. He was contracted by Clovis to determine the psychological effect of the exomind transition.
Right, and the other father is a engineer.
Correct. Yep, and their and I think like one of their fathers is involved in, I think, as well, because I think that's how their family was kind of connected to the Clovis. There's a couple of different things that Hector I have questions for too.
Mm-hmm. And Nox was primarily part of the group that went to Volantis, the Vex Mind Sun type thing, where they're getting all the power mind fluid from, and he was killed on May 19th.
Mm-hmm.
And Nox is the compatriot of Cade that runs into Micah with Cade out
Correct.
in the out in the wilderness of Europa in the snow drifts. Micah skips.
Yeah, Nox is the one that complains about complains about missing being hungry, and
yes,
he's like, "Oh, is it? I won't do it until after lunch." He's like, "But we don't need lunch." I know. I miss having lunch.
Mm-hmm.
Real quick, back to Hector, though. One of the things that I did find really interesting was Hector is detailed in. So Hector, first off, Hector has been reset at least 5 times. So we have Hector 6. Hector is also the one who abandons Europa and tries to notify the powers that be of the they're not war crimes, but they're violations of humanity, basically, that Clovis is doing. He is mentioned in Last Flight Home. It is a letter from him in a spaceship basically saying that Clovis's experiments have become deranged and tortuous, and he is basically calling him out as a sociopath. And he is asking for that. He's asking for Clovis's research and assets be frozen and then arrested and dealt with swift, unflinching justice. He is compromised and is being manipulated. And so I find it interesting here because Dr. Hector Abram, when he was a human, was trying to turn Clovis. He was basically a whistleblower. And then we have an exo, Hector 6, who is the same personality, and which makes me curious about what your thoughts are. Like, we know that Clovis Bray did not always use willing or 100% willing participants. That's the entire story of Cade's becoming an exo, is because he owed a debt to Clovis after he botched I believe it was a hostage situation, and blew up a orbital station. So I'm curious. I want to know more about Hector's story. Like, Hector has a potential of having a really interesting story, I think, because how do you go from a person who is turning in your boss for basically violating basic human rights, to becoming an exo who is Not really. I mean, we don't really know what he was doing in exo form. He was killed in an explosion that the Clovis AI initiated when they were trying to escape in the story. So he did not die within I think it was May 19th attack, but he did die later in the escape attempt led by Elsie and Clovis 1. But again, I'm finding it interesting that Hector is an exo after reading Last Flight Home, and also he is mentioned in, I believe it's the Icefall. Let me see real quick. The Icefall Mantle, which is the Titan exotic arms. If I'm reading that correctly, I believe the Icefall Mantle, I keep on calling them gauntlets. The Icefall Mantle takes place right before Last Flight Home. So I'm just curious the progress for his personality into the exo frame. But then we have Mia 9. We don't really have any information about Mia. Noe 2 is the exo who was given the honor of being the one to shut down the Vex portal after the counter assault on June 4th, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. Reba 3. Reba is another really interesting one. Reba was apparently before she was an exo, she was a former friend of Elsie's. And Reba somehow has knowledge that her friend Elsie lacks in regards to what happened to Elsie. And it is actually Reba who tells Elsie to look for the memory banks in Clovis's office right before she dies, and gives Elsie the knowledge that there is information that she needs to get. She is also the one that reveals that there are over 800 memory banks within Clovis's office. Each memory bank is basically a reset. So she is the one who can kind of confirms that Elsie has been reset over 800 times as an exo. Una 8 is not much known about Una 8. Una 8 was one of the caretakers that was overseeing Clovis during the May attack. So she's just she's present in one of the entries. She doesn't really have much other than that. Win 1 is the exo who actually woke up Clovis 1. He is the exo who was told to bypass safety protocols and actually got yelled at by Elsie for doing so.
Well, he got told to do that by the Clovis AI.
Clovis Bray AI, yes. He basically was... I feel like Win was kind of put between a rock and a hard place on that one. Like, he's like, you created me. You're kind of in charge. But he skipped a lot of the protocols. The awakening protocols, he skipped a number of them. Wesley 3 is called out as an exo who is really good at working on communication equipment. That's his claim to fame, I guess, is he has a lot of experience working on communication equipment. Clovis Bray, as far as secondary characters, Clovis Bray, we've kind of talked, most people know who Clovis Bray is. Esteban Ruiz is actually the human who was the controller of the Vex portal to Volantis, and he was one of the first that were killed when the Vex initiated a counterattack. So, that's basically the cast of the lore books here. So before we jump into the terminology, I know we'll take a really quick ad break, just kind of take a breath and come back. And I have some terminology that I want to run through real quick. Okay, so we know who's involved. We know kind of what's going on with the story. So some of the terminology that gets revealed to us, especially in regards to Deepstone Crypt and exoscience, which is really useful. I think I really was excited to see some of these terms being further defined and fleshed out. The first one is the Awakening Protocol. I mentioned that when we were talking about Win. The Awakening Protocol is basically a series of processes that is used to initialize new exos. And the way that this awakening protocol works is it's the pre-packaging of software that basically is like, hey, you're a robot, you're not in your normal body. This is how you get used to it. This is what is used to try to eliminate the threat of DER, which we learned about back in the Warmind. Then the next thing is cloud memory collection. And Green, this kind of touches on something that we had talked about earlier, was the cloud memory collection was how the exos kind of got backed up without having to be plugged in to back them up to get those checkpoints. And that will tie into your memory banks, which is, we kind of mentioned those earlier. The exo trading protocol, we're all kind of familiar with that. Anyone who's played the exo challenges, I think is what they're referred to.
Simulations.
Mm-hmm. So the exo training protocol is basically a preliminary version of those. Because the exo challenges that we experience were mostly, I believe all of them were custom made for Elsie, if I remember that correctly.
Yes. Yep. The Clovis AI specifically created them for Elsie.
Perfect. Forage, you'll hear at the very beginning of the book, they're talking about forage missions. These are the trips that they take into the Vex portal that is located within the Glassway. That Vex portal leads to a planet known as 2082 Volantis, or the Forge Star, as a lot of people will know it. And that is where they basically are collecting all the material to form exos, including radiolarian fluid. The identity upload is the process of finalizing the awakening protocol. So when a new exo rolls off the assembly line, if you will, they go through the awakening protocol, and then the identity upload is one of the final touches. The way I kind of look at it is the awakening protocol is loading the base OS. The identity upload is taking a memory bank and actually slotting that final piece of program into the formatted exo to give them their individuality. That then brings to, we mentioned memory banks already, so these are the individual records of scans that can be uploaded into an exo frame. And then, let's see, Morningstar. We talked about Morningstar last week. You guys have anything you wanted to add on for the Morningstar piece?
Orchid?
Nope.
So and then going back to the memory banks, there is something called rapid memory degradation. Rapid memory degradation we see comes into play at the end of the lore book, when it's Clovis and Elsie basically fighting back a Vex invasion, and what happens is they are burning through memory banks so fast that the hardware is literally melting. So rapid memory degradation is very similar to the need, or the before we had solid state drives, we had something that we had to do called defrag. We don't really defrag much anymore, but we used to have to do that, where it would take bits and pieces of files that were left over and clean them out. Rapid memory degradation is, I kind of get the sense that that's kind of what is being done, that then you defrag and wipe it out. So rapid memory degradation kind of is connected to the reset process, if I am reading that correctly. Final one that I have for terminology is the archives. The archives, I kind of get the feeling that this is when you're running through Eternity on Europa, this is the place where all the computer arms are going through and picking out different things. I imagine the archives to look something like that, because the archives are a repository of memory banks. They are literally the storage of the drives that have the memory banks on them. And I know that's like a lot of information.
It's good information, though. Something to keep in mind is that you mentioned very, very early on that 25 days is how long this book encompasses.
Yeah.
We go from Banshee, or not Banshee, we go from Clovis 1 to Clovis 43 and eventually 44 in 25 days.
Well, and it's actually sad because, or it's actually even less for Clovis, because from May 19th to June 3rd on the book, Clovis 1 was not activated. Clovis 1 did not get activated until June 3rd, and he became Banshee 44 on June 13th. So Clovis 1 as an EXO really only existed, let me see, for 10 days, maybe? And then he became Banshee. He did not exist. I mean, to just put in perspective this whole thing, the book starts on May 19th. There's an incident within the Glassway at the Vex Gate. And we'll talk about the overview here in just a second, but it starts on May 19th and it goes all the way to June 13th. And between those 2 days, it starts at 5 a.m. on May 19th and it goes to 3:46 p.m. on June 13th. So we actually have a really nice, and I'm assuming, of course, that this is an Earth-based calendar. I mean, you can yell at me all you want that it's not Earth. But going off the date and putting it in perspective that is, able to be accessible to us, that is not a very long time. And in that time, they push back a Vex invasion. They try to escape and are betrayed by Clovis AI. They then decide to team up, and then not only do they push back the Vex, but they actually shut down the Glassway Gate. They secure the Glassway Gate. They then go and destroy the Clovis AI, and on top of all that, Clovis 1 becomes Clovis 43, so he goes through 42 wipes, and then becomes Banshee. And and then also, before he is reset as Banshee, he gives Elsie the journal. So it was a very busy month for them. Like,
it's a good thing they don't have to sleep, really.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing that I was curious about is, so we know that Elsie is from an alternate timeline. Is this the alternate timeline? Is this the alternate universe? However we want to call it.
If it is, I mean, we still have a Banshee.
That's part of my question, is how aligned with our own timeline. And this is not addressed. This is why I hate time travel. Because when you introduce time travel and you start talking about multiverse theories, it's not just one person that gets replicated. So Banshee from her timeline, Clovis 1 becomes Banshee. But
my bet is that the split in timeline, the time, like where Elsie leaves her original timeline and jumps into ours, doesn't happen until after. I would almost bet that is when that happens.
For the sake of Occam's razor, I'm going to just not bring up my problem with that, because you can't. That's not how time travel works.
Sure, but anyway.
I mean, what I guess I'm saying is, like, why? So there's a magical moment that only Elsie is able to jump into different timelines.
No, it's the. Anyway, I don't want to get into time travel thing. It's just the whole idea that the branch of her splitting off of her original timeline. I don't like the idea that the timelines are in file folders next to each other. In my mind, they're branches and that they're interlocking and that they keep branching off, right?
Yeah, Elmist and I both thought this was before the split of the timelines. So this is like an origin point, and then they went pachoo.
Yeah, moving on. Speaking of timelines, let's just talk about the entry order, because like I had mentioned, the actual entries are not in chronological order. If you start at the beginning with them, you're going to read Nox 4 and Una 8 are the two that deal with the events on May 19th. June 3rd, and then basically the next, I think, what is that, next 7 of our pretty quick fire. You have Wynn, Wesley, Reba, Hector, Mia, and Jolie, and Noe, and then the very last one is Clovis 43. The brunt, or the chunk of them, the very big chunk of them, are on June 3rd and the morning of June 4th, which is basically the final battle between the Exos and the Vex. And that is also including Elsie. So it includes Clovis waking up, Elsie and Clovis leading a group of Exos to a escape shuttle, which is then sabotaged by the facility AI. So they then fall back, and then that's when Reba has informed Elsie of her memory banks. So they decide to get the weapons out of a locker, which is also where the Lament and No Time to Explain are introduced, because the Lament is a sword that was custom built for Banshee. And No Time to Explain was rediscovered, I guess would be the best word, before that. So they recovered those weapons from a locker. I believe it's the locker that we have in the is it Perdition? The one with the big Hydra at the end of it?
What?
Lost Sector. The Lost Sector that has the giant Hydra at the end. Is that Perdition? I can't remember. Anyways,
yeah, it's Perdition.
That's because then when you beat that Hydra, it opens up the hallway that you can go up, and that's where you meet the Exo Stranger at one of times in it. So that is where they unlock all these weapons. She pockets the memory banks. She doesn't actually upload them at this time. And then they go and they shut down the Glassway Gate, which then is, I think, Noe 2 is the one who, like I was saying, was given the honor of shutting it down. And it's weird here because they note that they originally were going to destroy the gate. But Elsie, at the last minute, decides that it would be better to just shut it down and not destroy it. And similar to with the facility AI on June 13th, which is Clovis 43's entry, Clovis 43 allows Elsie to shut off the Clovis Bray AI, the facility AI, and then they use the last of the Alcahest to reset Clovis into Banshee. And before he is reset, and they do a full wipe on him, so he shouldn't remember anything, which didn't work apparently. He gives Elsie the journal or the logbook that we then get with the collector's edition. You learn most of what goes on with that is also within the Lost Lament exotic quest, which takes place following the raid, because what kicks that off is Banshee gets hit with a set of memories from his previous instances, which is Clovis 1 through 43. Which I guess my question there is why do these dormant memories just suddenly pop back up? I don't know if either of you have any ideas for that.
Within the Lament quest, you mean? Or
well, just like in general, why? So they do a full wipe on Clovis 43 to get to Banshee 44, right? So then all of a sudden he's getting memories back from Clovis 1 through Clovis 43. And I know we have another instance of this happening with Exos with Cade. There's an entry, I think, actually that was introduced this season, that Cade is sitting. It's him writing in Treasure Island when he forgets for a moment that he's not on Europa. And that's actually where you get the confirmation that Cade was the Exo that caught Micah. So we have this happening with other Exos, but I don't know if there was anything, like, did you guys find anything that would kind of give a nod to why this suddenly happened?
I don't think there's anything written in lore. Orchid, do you remember anything from the quest line or anything like that that may have indicated why Banshee was getting the memories back?
I don't think there was anything in lore that said that why he was getting his memories back, but I have no idea.
There's theories that could obviously be brought up, right? Like the exos they're still connected in some way, shape, or form to the Deepstone Crypt. Because you have instances, thanks to Lakshmi, mentioning how certain exos have reset randomly without being at the Deepstone Crypt, right? Like that's something that got brought up fairly recently. And so the idea that they're still connected somehow to the servers, which are all on Europa, which makes me wonder if the servers got destroyed, if all the exos would just be SOL, or like what would happen to them, like if it's a radio signal type thing that is connected to it.
Like to the Deepstone Crypt. I think honestly, if it was disrupted, I think they'd be fine. Because I think they have onboard. Me personally, I think they have onboard storage, and they would just not back up. Okay. Because with the destruction of like cloud backup storage, it led me to believe that was it. There was no more backups. If you wanted to reset yourself, you'd have to physically go there, and then whatever your last backup, your last save point, then that's where your memories would restart to. So whatever you had before is gone. Yeah. So unlike Banshee that like was still connected to, cloud save or whatever before that. So that could explain like why they might have started to fragment, because cloud storage was kind of broken at that point. So they weren't updating. So that could explain a lot of the fragmenting that they had as they were doing like really quick restarts, as they were fighting their way to like down to the Glassway to kind of shut it down.
It's very possible.
If that makes sense. It's possible.
Well, I mean, the fragmentation when they were fighting their Glassways was because they were having to They're
resetting so quickly.
Yeah, they were resetting so fast that the hardware was actually not able to keep up with them.
Right.
Which is fascinating to think about, like how quickly exos can be generated then.
Oh, yeah.
If they're like, that is literally not a joystick, like a thumb drive being put into the next one, and it's being just pumped out so fast you can't update the thumb drive before you have to. Because I'm
sure that it's basically an assembly line equivalent, right? And there's only there's a speed at which you can rivet chassis together.
Well, we see that in the Clovis facility. You can see the different pieces and the different segments being worked on.
Yeah.
The thing that Black Flag mentioned too is that with the Deepstone Crypt, the facility AI comes back online. So that could be a connection that's reestablished as well.
Yes and no, but I think the facility AI is still separate from cloud backup storage.
I'm really wondering if the AI, if Banshee's chassis in particular has a bit more of a connection than even Cade's does. Because Cade having the ability to have prior memories pop up, that makes me think that all exos have that. But Banshee is such a unique, like he is the unique child essentially of all of this, because of course Clovis wanted his own exo frame to be the best. It's not out of the realm of possibility that he built something in there specifically for that. So if the AI came back on board, which is what I freaked out about when we started hearing Banshee's possibly remembering, is that the Clovis AI take over Banshee at some point.
I thought at one point maybe that like whenever they were reset or they'd have their memories wiped and reset, that it was just like it was like writing over a hard drive, so their memories were still there. But they were just like underneath all the new garbage, so they weren't actually like rewritten over. So it was like kind of like an old kind of hard drive. So instead of like writing over every single piece of memory and making it all like all zeros, so it actually goes away. So it was just they were all still there, so they could kind of sneak through a little bit.
Yeah,
So they could bleed through that way. But I mean, that's like that. I don't know. So maybe it could like leak through that way too. It's all supposition.
We're just going to start holding up Rorschach tests for him, and he's going to start calling out things on Europa.
Yeah. Exactly.
No, that's what we do with Hector, not Banshee. Get it right.
We're just going to have Hector do that to Banshee.
Oh, wait. That works too.
Oh, wait.
Mm-hmm.
Poor Hector. I guess just real quick, I know we're bumping up against, what is it, 45 minutes at this point on the recording. So I guess real quick, just for the intro session, what did both of you think about reading the book or this particular set of entries? Do you guys have just some like really brief summary thoughts about it?
Orca, do you want to go first?
I mean, I have I do know that Banshee only starts remembering things once the Deepstone Crypt raid was cleared. So that Almist told me that. So that's important because that only happened like once Lost Lament was dropped. So that's good to remember. Thank you, Almist. But the book itself is really cool. I don't know. I really liked it. It's one of my favorite ones from this season.
Yeah, I think so too. The book itself is, I think they did a really good job of describing things from multiple perspectives of what those last couple of days were like. But because they come in an order that is not chronological, you have to piece together the story correctly. And so I think they did a slight disservice on that front, because if you're just reading straight through, it doesn't necessarily make a ton of sense. But the last card really makes the book all worth it, in my opinion, because you really see Banshee or Clovis trying. It's almost a redemption story. It's not a redemption story, but it's almost a redemption story. That was a conversation
Orchid and I had.
Almost.
We'll get into that, I think, next up, or the advanced one, because I have thoughts about that too. Yeah, I kind of agree with Black Flag with his take is Banshee gets a hug and Clovis gets the finger, because like if you were on the fence for some reason about Clovis is not being a hole, reading what the facility AI put these guys through is just like, I'm like, yep, that's just nope. You need to heads should roll. Literally, he's a big head. He can roll down a hill. I think we should just push him down a hill and watch the snowball form. But yeah, I liked it. I actually did like how it was out of order, because I like the puzzle that it kind of created. It was like, because I was reading it, and it's one of those things where they put the timestamps in it, and I remember reading, I think it was the first one, and then I read the second one, and it was just like, wait, hang on, let me rearrange my brain here a second. This takes place in June, and last time I checked, June took place after May. Like what's going on there? So that was when like the red flag that went off, and once I read through all of them, then I kind of I actually went back and wrote all the notes, like the timestamps, and reorganized them, and then reading them in chronological order, it makes a lot more sense, I think. And I really like how you see the growth of these individual exos who we don't really know how they're connected to everyone. There's some of them who are really connected to each other. There's others who have no connection at all to each other, but they all come together underneath the leadership of Elsie and Clovis. Clovis kind of like innately or just naturally rises to the leadership position. Clovis won, the Exo Clovis, and like watching, I think Orchid, I think you said it at the beginning, or Green, I can't remember which one of you said it, but watching him buck the path that had been chosen for him, and he has some strong words to tell the facility AI, and it was like one of those, reading that was like, I was like, yes, do it again. Like, I really liked watching that development of the character, and then the transformation of that character into a much beloved character that everyone is experienced with and has experiences or has experienced in game, was also a really cool little twist at the end. So yeah. For the intro session though, let's do a round of shout outs real quick. Green, what do you got for us this week?
My shout out goes to my voice actors for Destiny Lore audio file, who are currently turning in the last 3 files for this book that actually we're going to be wrapping up soon. Orchid submitted a part for this one. She's not Sagira. She gets to play
Reba 3.
Yeah, you get to die.
I know. I get to die again.
Yeah. I may be typecasting her, guys. I may be typecasting her a little
Orchid,
bit.
I don't know if that's a typecast that you want. Oh no, this character's played by Orchid. She's gonna die.
And I have Elemus. Elemus is reading Wesley, I believe, for this one. So yeah, I've got Guardians of Lore hopped in on this one, and of course a few of my standard voice actors at this point who are excellent. But yeah, my shout out goes to those guys who have been working hard and who've been volunteering a lot of unique skills. I'm also working on lab records right now, and Infested Potato brought in some of his haunted house.
Yeah. I'm excited. I'm excited to hear that one, actually.
Oh, the screams are so good.
Yeah, that's that. Like, I'm excited to hear how they make that. Orchid, what about you?
I'm actually going to hawk my other podcast for my shout out. If you want to hear the actual reading for Legacy's Lament and more different discussion on it, you can hear it on Guardians of Lore episodes 95 and 96.
Yeah.
And I just want to give everyone who is in live chat a big shout out, because I like watching this chat just like it's scrolling, and I'm like, yay. I don't know. To me, that's always fun watching like the little kernels of like thoughts and theories pop up while we're talking about stuff. It's really cool. So thank you guys for showing up and hanging out with us. Green has I don't know what that is, Green. What is that?
It's a bush.
That's a bush?
That's a bush.
Okay. All right. So
that's
Green...
not what I was going to say it was.
So we're going to leave before we get ourselves in trouble. And just want to, as always, thank you for your time. And until next time, remember, with wisdom we conquer. Stand strong, stand tall, and keep exploring.
Are we... Yeah. I think so, since we're going to be taking a break.
Okay. Breaks are good.
Mm-hmm.
So you do want us to stop?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Sport. What episode is this? 225?
Yes.
This is 16.
Oh no. The
16-bit.
menu is different, Green.
You're fine.
I know.
You're
it's
fine.
just it's like in a completely different space. It's really weird.
Okay, for this one, since I'm editing, can we still put it in the?
Yep,
you guys put it in the folder?
Yeah, I dropped that over there. Do you want
16 or 30?
Yeah, I was gonna say, which encoding do you need us?
It doesn't matter.
Do I do Do I do float or signed?
What?
You want 32-bit float or 32-bit PCM? I don't know what any of these
16.
mean.
I did 16.
Okay, 16. Okay.
Yeah. Doom. Bap. Let me give you permissions for DLA in the Discord real quick. And what I've been doing is I've just been putting out like an all call if people want to pick up a part, or if you have an idea that you want to do. Yeah. And don't worry too much about your headset, especially for exo parts. Like that actually works in your favor if your headset's kind of like it's not a studio mic or anything like that.
It's janky.
Laz Rich, the Lich actually has. Yeah, Laz actually has kind of the same issue.
Whoa, it made that picture big.
But he's still able to help. Yeah, it made your picture big.
Look at that! Look at that awesome hunter knife.
Right? Did you see the two in the background from me?
Yeah. Did you get is that the glacier one?
That's the one from. Well, there's the green one that you can't really see because the lights are blurring it out. But then there's the blue one from Guardian Con.
I'll get the camera back in here. Come back, eventually. Camera.
Okay, I'm going to go get coffee. More coffee. Be right back.
Okay. Oh, it's so much cleaner.
Oh my god. Wait, where's my thing? God, I'm just like so disorganized in my brain space. Fucking.
That was what was causing it. The new input was putting it at like a random resolution. Okay.
It's so weird that I have you on Skype. I have you on a different camera than is in
the Skype camera. Their Skype camera is literally, for those on stream, it's like right below, so they're looking up and this camera is looking down,
like up his nose in Skype, and like you guys get the really nice camera and I get like the up the nose camera.
Yep.
On Skype.
Don't let her fool you. She really likes it. Let me see if I can. I don't even know if I can get it. You.
Yeah.
Does this? Nah, it won't. It won't. Well, I used to have this camera up next
like
to.
Upskirt, or it does like upskirts. I mean,
I used to have the Skype camera up next to the stream camera, but it kept falling because it's got a really shitty bass cling, and it's like, all right, I'm like, fine, you're banished down here.
Where is there's that. Where's my fucking file? There's my Reba. There's my No. Give me permission to upload to the folder.
Why do you not have... seriously? You still don't have permission? All right, hang on.
It says anyone on the internet can view it, but I can't.
Yeah, I know.
Change it.
Give me a second. All right, try it now.
I'm gonna refresh. Nah. Ooh, good.
Heiser.
Yeah, I figured out why my webcam was so crappy. OBS decided to reset it to 320 by 320 resolution. I'm like, no, that's a terrible resolution. Why would you do that?
Man. You were having too much fun with this. Okay. So you put it in.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go get tea.
I'm putting the intro in there.
Okay.
Put the intro in there. So you should see that coming through in just a second.
Okay, going to Drive, going to share with me, going to, is it featured audio? Yes. Episode files?
225.
225. Okay, I've got yours. Download anyway. Save as. Alamist, you are a dirty, dirty person, and I can't even see chat, but Orchid showed me what you typed. I'm tattling on her because she's not here. Let's see here. FFC episodes. 225. That good?
All right, looks like Orchid got hers in there as well.
I'm working on getting them downloaded right now, so I'll let you know when you can get rid of them.
Oh yeah, I figured you can. It's not. Because we have fiber, they gave us like a terabyte or two of data or space, so it's like. Oh yeah, because we subscribe to fiber, Google's like, here's a free terabyte. And I'm like, thanks, I'm never going to fill this up. I think I'm at like, I don't even know what I'm at. Hang on. I'm using 80 gigabytes of 1 terabyte. I'm like, all my stuff is like docs. Like it's Word docs. Yeah. They don't take any space. So
I have 42 gigabytes of 100 used.
Well, and it's so funny because Anna backs up all her photos here on Google. And so she has, I think she has with her documents and the photos. So she's up there she's closer to 100, I think. And she went and got the terabyte like for a year or something. It was like, she got some deal on it, but it was like 15 or 20 bucks. I was like, why would you not get that? That's ridiculous.
I get 100 gigs for like $2 a month, so it's not bad.
No, it's nice because it syncs up with everything that connects to the internet. So, the cool thing is, I saw someone. They actually, what is it? The is it Forms? No, it's not Forms. It's Google Sites. You can basically build a really roughshod website off of Google Drive.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
I
It's
saw
like
that
it's very
functionality.
yeah, it's like a very basic wiki is what it reminds me of. But I mean, it's pretty cool. It's like I was looking at it for some stuff, and the other one that we really like playing with is the Jamboard for whiteboarding processes. It's basically a collaborative whiteboard, but it's kind of fun.
I have been looking at getting a website put together, and I actually got to talk to somebody who has like a business degree, which was nice. And they suggested using like either WordPress or Squarespace because that's like the most popular ones. But
yeah, WordPress and Squarespace, I feel like I haven't used Squarespace. I know a lot of people like Squarespace because it makes it's very I don't mean this badly, it's very cookie cutter. Like they have like templates that you can really like, you don't have to focus on building the site. You focus on putting stuff on the site. WordPress, I feel, is like a little bit more open form. So you can either not worry about it and just use a template, or you can worry about it and really build out some really cool stuff. The other one that we did, Jamboard is a Google app. I don't know if you've ever heard of, you probably have, Wix.
Yeah, I'm getting ads for it all the time right now.
So Wix
has a really good functionality.
It does.
I've seen some
really
cool things you can do with it.
We used it back when we were doing Dads of Destiny for our clan page. Not for the overarching DoD, but for our personal clan, we used Wix. It actually had some pretty useful, like, I mean, it was very basic, very, very simple stuff, but it was really nice because you could embed like calendars and stuff into it, so you could set up, different things. You can do it all with WordPress too, but it was cheap. It was like, I think we had a free one.
Nice. I've been toying with the idea of doing WordPress.org just so. You okay there, Chica?
Yes. Kate is fine.
The only downside to WordPress.org is that, and this is just me, I really like having the support of .com, and I don't host anything.
Yeah.
That's my only thing, is like if I...
Well, you can get a hosting service. There's hosting services out there.
Yeah. I actually consolidated all of our hosting services with WordPress like 2 years ago. We used to have, for Focus Fire, we used to host out of, I think it was Blue Gator. They had a really cheap thing that we hosted. But then I built everything on WordPress, and I was looking at it, and I was like, hang on. For like $2, I can just do your hosting. I was like, this is stupid. I'm just going to move everything to you.
Is Twitter broken on your guys's?
I don't know. I can check.
No, but I'm blocking Feet from our chat.
Blocking who?
Feet. It's a bot that appears in chat, but it's just called Feet, and I don't like it.
Okay. I trust you. Yeah. Twitter is not broken.
Okay.
For me.
It's just, it looks like I have a blackout because I'm just getting the swirling circle of death even if I refresh the pages. Like a blackout in my area. Oh, there it goes. I'm wearing a panda hat and have a face cam on because they made me on Focus Fire chat. Get the fuck out.
Twitter is not broken for now.
Okay.
Twitter is always
broken. Up again. Lately? Yeah. Okay.
Oh my god, I'm not looking forward to that.
Oh, the 19th and 20th? Yeah, no one is.
The what? No, sorry. No, it's
Toki in the background.
They are pushing.
He's coming. Oh shit, he's here.
They're pushing for
natural.
The legal ramifications for banking with cannabis products.
Oh, they're changing that?
No, well, they're trying. And it's a colossal cluster. But
because as far as I remember, they can't at all right now.
Yep, nope, you're right. It's It's very annoying because it's not that we don't want to, but we still get dragged through the mud because of it. And it's like, I'm like, here's the choices. We can give you a place to put your money, but then we lose all our insurance, and then no one gets insured. So if something happens, you're all effed. Or we keep the insurance for the people that we already have. It's like, this is a bad spot to be in.
Do we know if Dredgenyor was human or awoken? He was human.
He would be either human or exo. The Awokens did not exist at his time. And given the fact that Rezel Azir was his name, I'm going to go with he was probably human.
Let's look at this.
So what's on the 19th or 20th? What's going on?
You're kidding, right?
Yeah, I don't pay attention. I have literally been programming for the entirety of this week.
The inauguration. And Toki looks adorable.
Yeah, I've happy. I've turned my head. Oh yeah, he was doing that earlier. I've turned my entire I stopped paying attention to that shit. I'm like,
yeah.
How dare you not pay attention to Toki? He demands attention.
Yeah, I have a dog that does that.
He's a really good sound muffler.
Mm-hmm.
Until he starts purring, then it's.
How do you know it's the cat and not something else?
Touche.
You're welcome.
I'm going to have that image in my head for a while. Thank you.
Yep. Focus Fire Chat After Dark.
In between.
The sheets of a lore book.
That could be an ad. Speaking of which, I talked to Elemist yesterday about an ad idea for you guys.
Oh,
since you guys were struggling. Uh-huh.
Hide the flutes. God damn it, Black Buck.
Hide the flutes. I have a flute.
If you want the flute story, you can go back to my VOD from yesterday at 7 minutes and 20 seconds and hear the flute story.
Oh, no.
It's from band camp when I was 16. It involves 2 raccoons, a broom, a cabin, 6 girls, and cupcakes. And a
Your
flute.
band camp is a lot more interesting than the band camp I went to. The band camp I went to had more gay moments than anything. Like 2 guys got caught in a practice room together. But...
I mean, there was one time at choir camp that the choir director was singing in a falsetto and his bridge popped out and it popped across the grand piano, went ding, 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 and just like stopped right in front of the pianist. And it was silent because we were all very afraid of Mr. Shaw. And so we're all like, what do we do? So no one said a word, and he just collected it and left the room, and like no one spoke of it again. No one laughed. No one said a word because we were too afraid of him.
Jay, do you not have clips turned on?
What?
How do you clip something?
I don't
clip something
Twitch.
in mod mode.
I don't do Twitch. Ask the person who does Twitch. That one.
You have to create I can turn them on.
Apparently you and I tilted our heads at the same time, Jay.
Oh, I mean, I have the option to clip. What am I supposed to do? Click on it?
Yeah, and then you can figure out how long of a clip you want. But it only goes back so far.
I only clipped like 30 seconds. I don't know.
It's fine. The moment's passed. I can go find it in the VOD later.
Mm-hmm.
What moment?
Orchid starting to explain the flute story, and then you and I tilting our heads at the same time.
Okay.
It happens. Toki, can you leave me alone for the rest of the night, please? You got so much attention tonight.
But I want cuddles. Cuddle me, Mama. Cuddle me.
You can get cuddles afterward.
But now.
Attack! Quick, her defenses are down. Attack!
Mm-hmm.
You see his face. Okay, turn it this way.
Careful, you might attack your face. Angry cat.
He looks really bad.
He doesn't like your idea.
Toki, say hi to Elmist. You know Elmist. You like him better than me. Okay. I want to redo ghost stories with more people.
I think that's an excellent idea. We should do that.
I want to. Let's do ghost stories.
Yeah. Is Rendell still in here?
Rendell. If not, I'll text him.
I thought I saw a recent post from him.
Rendell sent me bracelets in the mail. We're going to do ghost stories. Boo.
We've got Legacy's Lament, Lab Records. Rendell's already sent me Dark Future. I need to get Stark to do Anna and Mara Sov for that one. And then I can do Elsie and Eris.
I can do children's voices. And I can do young boys.
Yeah, I did Micah Abram. I did Micah Abram, which releases next week.
I can also do uwu voices.
What's an uwu voice?
I do uwu voices.
What?
I can do uwu voices. Why wouldn't you want an uwu voice?
I don't know what an uwu voice is. I just know it like it's the cutesy thing that you guys type in. What? Why?
But why
use me whenever you need me. Be careful what you ask for, Elmist.
Oh, he knows what he's asking for. Oh, I should say, if anybody wants one of the green Hive or the green Crow to Fire team shirts from Ishtar Collective, they're not going to make the green shirts anymore because the printer isn't going to stock them anymore.
But weren't they looking to see if they could find it elsewhere?
Yeah, Baxter and I have been trying to find the same green elsewhere, but we're not having very good luck.
You see what shirt I got on? Oh, you can't see it because of the camera.
Cool! I love it. Toki?
Monarchy.
Where the fuck did you come from?
You meant audio. Sure you did. Orchid, I think you and I have the same sweatshirt on. Almost. Mine's Old Navy.
She's got the Crimson Days sweatshirt, which is comfortable as fuck. Love that thing. It's like one of the few sweatshirts that I can actually wear.
It's so big because I bought one because I was like, oh, I'll buy it based on like the chest size, but I didn't realize that I bought it based way too big on the chest size because it's stretchy. So I got it like a 2XL. I should have gotten a large. It's so big on me.
It's so comfy.
It's really comfortable, but it's way too big for me.
Light.
It's really light. It's way too big. But I'm not mad about it. So I just wear it over like jammies and stuff.
Yeah.
I love it because I can actually wear it. Like normally I put on a hoodie and I like spontaneously combust.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the Destiny hoodies are really light.
Yeah. The only reason I didn't get the what was it, the emissary one was because it didn't have a zip up. It was a pullover and no. The Loot Crate one is super nice.
But there are zippers on it. The zippers are down here at the very bottom.
Yeah, it doesn't, but it's not a full zip up.
No, it's the zippers are here just so you can sit. Because it's a dress.
Because you're trapped otherwise.
Yeah, because it's a dress.
Ah, okay. Well, I didn't need a dress either, so...
It's for us short people. Yeah, I'm showing everyone your hoodie dress, Irish. Yeah, because it's a tunic. But on tall people, it looks normal. On us short people, and I'm saying I'm short when I'm 5'6". I'm not short.
You're not short.
No, I'm not. I'm
5'2". You're gonna be 4
inches
inches taller than me.
I know.
You're so happy about this. Julie is 5'8", and she can basically do this to me, like elbow on my head kind of thing.
That's so funny. Yeah, Green, you and Irish are pretty much like the same.
I didn't get it though.
Yeah, it's probably one of the most comfortable things I own.
What is?
And I love it. Like
the hoodie. The 9 hoodie.
Yeah, I was going back and forth, but see, like, I can't do the...
How cute it is.
I like the colors of it. I like the entire design, except for the fact that it wasn't a zip-up. I was like, that just killed it for me.
I'm not short. How dare you?
Doom is fucking tall. Doom,
how tall are you?
It's like 6'5", 6'6".
That's it?
Feels like.
Man, you're short as shit.
Oh my god.
I got like 3 friends taller than you.
Oh my god.
Chaos is 7 feet tall. So you're not going to ever be as tall as Chaos.
Jesus.
Yep. But I like the back. The back's got...
Mm-hmm. The symbols that make no sense.
Yeah.
I am the shortest person in my family.
Obviously, if you're 5'2". My sister's your height, so I make fun of her all the time for being short.
Just means I don't have to see the dust on the top of the fridge and a lot of other things.
It's okay.
6'9". Sorry, Doom.
You're 6'9". Still really short. 6'9". I'm really sad
only
for
3 inches shorter than Chaos.
Yeah. You're still just short as shit. 6'9". Actually, there's a guy in my lab who's 6'1", and I got in the truck that he had been driving today, and his legs and mine are almost the same length.
3 inches can make all the difference. Giggity.
I mean, yeah.
Should we start the next episode?
I mean, probably.
Good night. Hey.
Oh, good night, Irish. Valoragna, thank you so much for this song.
Blue disappeared off the screen. I think he needed a moment. The show was always so thirsty. I mean,
yeah.
It's thirsty adjacent. Whatever that means.
I don't know.
Black Flag tends to be a little bit more...
What even is this?
Yeah.
This is just a thing.
It is a thing. I got a new pen.
Ooh, what kind of pen is it?
It is a zebra pen. It's all metal.
I love those kinds of pens. That's a good company.
Yeah, and I picked up some cartridges for it. Too, so I am set. It writes so nice.
Are we showing off pens that we have on our desk? This one's Lamy Studio. And it is a special edition. It's like a slate blue, and it is a fine tip.
Ooh, it has the flare tip too, right? Like the split tip where you can write.
It's just a normal fountain pen.
I just don't use fountain pens. I have one. I just don't use it very often.
I have like 147 fountain pens, and I'm not even exaggerating.
You also do calligraphy, which
this is just for writing,
fucking cool.
But I have this ink on my desk. This is the ink that I was writing with.
Yeah. Have you ever watched this like writing porn on Reddit?
Yeah. I've done writing porn on Reddit.
What?
Yeah, a long time ago.
You need to send me like that link because that's one of my favorite things to watch.
Okay.
Any of like those always end up on Oddly Satisfying, and
they
are oddly satisfying.
I mean, I can show you some really terrible writing porn. I can just write you something, and then I still haven't sent a bunch of Christmas cards. I just have like them in a stack, like ready to send, and I've just been so busy. I've not made it to the post office to actually get stamps put on them because I don't have stamps.
Yeah, I mean,
because every single time I try, I'm like
stamps anymore.
I know every single time I try to like get to the post office, it's closed. So I've like not been able to send them yet. So, yay, my life.
I mean, post office is also bonkers right now. So Julie sent some baklava to her aunt in Hawaii, and it took a month and a half for it to get there. We paid for 2-day shipping, which is not going to happen with her Hawaii anyway, but bad.
I'll miss to say that I have an ink fetish. That's true.
I do too, but not the same kind of ink.
I have like 200 bottles of ink or something. I should take a picture and put it on Twitter.
I like tattoos.
I don't have any tattoos.
No? I have... How many do I have now? One on each foot. I have the one on my back and then one on each arm. I have 5 tattoos at the moment, and I'm planning on at least 2 or 3 more. Oh, you're back. Ha! Blue.
Yes.
We were talking about ink fetishes. Orchid has
fun.
Yeah.
Orchid has a lot of ink. I am jealous of people who have good handwriting because I do not, mainly because I don't give a fuck long enough to actually try to have good handwriting.
I have good enough to read. Kind of.
You're pristine.
You're pristine and uninked. I mean, you're uninked.
You guys got Audacity up?
I do.
Mm-hmm.
I need to close this. Okay, there we go.
Tattoos are an addiction, I will say that.
Tattoos are, yeah. One day I'll probably get one.
Especially for people who enjoy like the process of it. Anyway. Like the lasting ink is nice, but the process is also a nice thing too.
Okay, I'm ready. Whenever you guys are.
Jay?
Yep. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've been waiting.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, click.
Sticky, clicky.
Sticky.
Okay.
Nope. Delete that. Never happened.
Nope. Keeping it.
God damn it.
Yeah, now that she's found the clip button, she's...
Fuck.
Oh, all right. Welcome to Focus Fire Chat, recorded live on January 15th, 2021 over on twitch.tv/FocusFireChat as we continue our discussion over the lore book Legacy's Lament. This particular episode will serve as what we have come to call the advanced session of the week's exploration. Congratulations to those who signed up for a deeper dive. Before we go any further, however, let's run through a quick introduction of who all we have with us on the show. As always, this is your host, Blue Crew 86.
And this is the still trying to figure out how to recover from the start of this recording, Green-Eyed Music Lover.
This is Hey, it's Orchid wondering if she's fired.
So special announcements.
Not yet.
I need to recover for a second. So, special announcements. If you would be so kind as to visit us on thelorenetwork.com, where you can find us alongside many impressive lore content creators, and let us know your thoughts on the weekly lore roundups, both for podcasts and for YouTube. Also, if you could leave us a review over on iTunes, 5-star reviews really help us so other people can find our podcasts. You can also find us on iTunes, or you can also find us on Twitter. God damn it. You can also find us on Twitter at The Lore Network and also at Focused Fire Chat. I don't even know how to do my job anymore.
Do we have any, did you have the sponsor?
Yes, I do have the sponsor. Guys, the sponsor for tonight, audible.com. If you're listening to this right now, you too can listen to audiobooks on audible.com because audiobooks are for your ears.
Fun fact.
Really?
Audible also does podcast.
Yes, they do. Mm-hmm. Do they?
Yeah, that was, what was that, like a couple months back?
Yeah, DLA is on there, as well as I think we're on there with.
I think we're on there as well. I want to say that we are. I think because that was part of their. Because is it Audible Amazon? I can always get these mixed up. Okay, yeah, because Amazon has their podcast, and I think they merged it with the Audible.
Yes. I mean, cool. But what you get if you sign up for a Shush, I'm doing my job, guys. I'm hawking wares right now, okay? I'm hawking wares. If you sign up for your free 30-day trial, it comes with a free audiobook. You get 2 free audiobooks for Amazon Prime members. And as a reminder, you can also use your Amazon Prime membership for a free sub on Twitch, which you can use on our own channel. It's good for any premium selection titles that you would like. They are yours to keep, whether you decide to keep the actual subscription or not. The Audible Plus catalog of podcasts, audiobooks, wellness, and Audible originals. You can listen all you want. There are no credits needed. And you will get a friendly email reminder before your trial ends. Different books that you could try. I really like Harry Potter because that's what I grew up with. So, I actually own all of them. I had Audible for a long time, so I actually have a lot of Audible books on my phone. And I listen to them at work, so I don't have to listen to people talk to me because I like audiobooks because I don't want to talk to humans, guys. Audiobooks are great.
No, Green, you're not allowed to talk. She's not done yet.
I'm not. See, audiobooks are great because I don't need to talk to Green because we're talking about audiobooks right now. If I had one playing right now, you wouldn't have to hear Green. You just hear the sweet, dulcet tones of the audiobook playing in your ear instead of Green. So guys, go to Audible.
Sweet dulcet tones of Green in your ears instead. No, Audible has some free content now too. They're not just the subscription service. You can also get things included in your Audible subscription that are just a lot of mainly classics and podcast and
Game of Thrones.
No, she said.
Or
good
you
books.
could get. Okay, let's not start that debate. This is the advanced session, so I know it goes longer, but
Lord of the Rings.
No, that's acceptable.
That one's acceptable.
The Hobbitses.
Yes.
Lore Hobbitses.
Lore Hobbits. I was wondering if that's where that was going.
Yep.
Or the Dark Tower.
Or the Dark
that's
Tower.
Also acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
No, not acceptable.
Well, that's true. Green has a problem with the audiobooks of the Dark Tower.
I still haven't made it past what is it, Wizard and Glass?
Yeah, I don't blame you. She's
so
creepy.
Scary.
She's creepy in the text. I can't imagine her as actually in your ear.
I may have gotten fired from my job because I couldn't focus during listening to that. That's not true, but it was bad.
Oh man. Well, so moving to lore about Destiny. God, man, I'm done.
Is there...
Good job.
Thank you. I'm so good at this. Please fire me.
Oh.
No. So in the intro session, we did just kind of like a really brief overview of all the figures who were involved in the story, like a really basic summary of the story. And then like we kind of touched on the exotic quest a little bit, but only so far as it kind of augmented into the lore entries. Basically, this is a story about Banshee's history. And that I think I would argue is ultimately that's kind of the purpose of this particular lore book, is kind of to show the growth of Banshee from a not good place into the very forgetful weaponsmith that we all know and love. So one of the big questions that I had, and Orchid's going to have some opinions on this one, is does the entirety of this lore entry constitute as, or can it be argued after reading this, that Clovis Bray is seeking redemption for his actions? Orchid, you okay over there?
Where would you like me to start?
Well, I guess real quick, short answers. Do you think that Clovis Bray is seeking redemption for his actions? Like, just yes or no?
Unintentionally, yes.
Okay. You're nicer than I am, because my answer is no. Green?
Is Clovis seeking redemption, or is...
Clovis Bray. Clovis Bray. Not Clovis 1. Clovis Bray.
No.
Okay. So why do you say unintentionally yes, Orchid?
I say unintentionally because while Banshee is Banshee, like Clovis 43 is still Clovis at that point, and it didn't make the decision to become Banshee 44. And still had all the memories of Clovis and all of those decisions that led him to decide to become Banshee 44, and hadn't lost all of those memories. So he made the decision himself to say, I am taking all of that knowledge and I'm taking all of those experiences, and I reject everything that Clovis decided, and that because he was Clovis. Like, well, that is what an EXO is.
Except he wasn't, actually. He never had the identity. He never had the identity uploaded.
No, but he still had but he was still created to be that.
Correct.
Right. And he rejected it.
He was the shell.
Hence the unintentional.
But the ghost was never uploaded.
He was the intentional. He was intended to be that, and he said, no, I'm not going to be that. So it was an unintentional redemption, saying, I'm going to be better. I'm going to be something better and new, and and do my best to, like,
I guess my argument.
This is why I say that it is unintentional redemption.
My argument there is that Clovis, Exo Clovis, Clovis 1, Clovis through 43, I would argue is not Clovis Bray.
Right. So you guys are arguing the time of who Clovis is. Orchid says it's unintentional since Clovis never got uploaded fully.
Right.
But you're saying that he didn't actually... It's the same answer. You're just arguing the semantics of the timing.
I mean, the thing here, though, is also... So, like, in the new lore book, War Machines, that Bungie sent out, the new Grimoire book, there's 3 entries from the Bray family that center around this, and one of them is a letter from Clovis Bray that is basically calling out this idea of, he's like, well, I'm doing this because maybe you can seek amends for the damage that I've done. Which, I mean, I'm like, okay, so you're basically giving lip service to redemption because you're on your deathbed. But that's not contrition. Like, that's not, You don't get redeemed by someone else coming and doing the amending of your deeds. Like, that's the whole thing. He says he recognizes the things that he's done, but he doesn't ever fully lament them. He doesn't, because even at the end, he argues that they were necessary sacrifices.
I don't think that Clovis went in intending redemption. Clovis was all about legacy. He could care less about redemption. He just wanted his legacy. But the fact that Banshee is the embodiment of essentially wanting to be the grandfather to Elsie that she never had, that moment is a redeeming moment for the EXO. Not necessarily for Clovis, but for the EXO, who is part Clovis. So I see the leeway between the two.
But he really isn't.
Kind of where I bridge the two together, because him doing that and seeing himself as part of her family has him acknowledging that he is Clovis at that point.
The other thing to keep in mind, though, is that because the Clovis EXO Banshee Clovis 43 is not the same memories as the originator, you can argue the nurture versus nature kind of thing here.
And that's my point. That is what I'm arguing, is because Clovis 1 was created with all the physical traits of Clovis. Like, he had the intellect, the physical prowess of all the superior EXO, but the memories, the mind that is Clovis Bray was never put into that EXO. He never had the
somebody without having them make that decision, though. You can have a redeeming thing that happens for them without them doing it. Contrition does not mean actual redemption.
Well, contrition, yeah. So just real quick, contrition. When we say contrition, I'm actually referring to the actual dictionary definition of feeling remorse for an action, and also penitent. Like, you have to feel remorse. My point is that Clovis does not feel remorse.
What I'm saying is that you can have a character who portrays evil throughout an entire movie, and in the last moment do something that seems selfless without actually having remorse built into it.
Yeah, they do in anime all the time. They have the bad character save a puppy in the end, and then all the girls hearts melt because he's doing it in the rain or something, but he's still a bad character because he stabbed 6 guys in the previous episode, but he saved a puppy.
That doesn't, yeah.
You can still be a person.
He can still be a bad person, but do a redeeming thing. Clovis can still be a butt face, but yeah.
I think he had a redeeming act that happened, but it wasn't a active thing that he did as much as it was circumstance.
Which in my mind is not redemption. That's you accidentally doing a good thing. Intentionality is 9/10 of what redemption is about. And the fact is when he writes the note with the lament, he basically calls out the fact that he is using his EXO frame as a delegate to make amends to others. But he does not want to be bothered with making amends, because in his view, he doesn't have anything to amend to. He says that society sees his actions as being evil, but he views them as being necessary sacrifices on his path to discover eternity in this reality. So that's where it's look, I get that he did a good thing. Yeah, sure, bad people do good things all the time, but intentionality behind that event, there is no remorse that is driving that event. So that's where I yeah. And that's, yeah, Dancing is talking about it kind of same as there. Is Crow cannot redeem Aldrin. because Crow is not Uldren. Uldren didn't have the ability to be redeemed. Or he didn't choose to be redeemed while he was there. The other reason I brought this up is the ornament for the Lament has a mention to a Greek mythological event that has a lot to do with resurrection and reincarnation. The ornament is called Leth's Mercy. So the Leth is one of the 5 rivers in Hades, and its particular power or element or ability is anyone who drinks from the river Leth will forget their past. They forget everything about their past, and they're basically made into a clean slate. So what they would do is this river was actually the river that ran the border of Elysium, which is where their equivalent of paradise was. And in order to get into Elysium, spirits were required to drink from it in order to forget their earthly lives. So they couldn't bring impure things into paradise. Later, historically, you also had myths where they would be given the choice to be reincarnated, but they had to drink from Leth, or they were given the choice to drink from Leth or Minoscene, which is the river that does the opposite. It actually grants omniscience. Instead of forgetting everything, they learn everything. So with Leth's Mercy, you see the kind of a nod to the creation of Banshee, because he literally, and actually I'd almost argue for Guardians too, because they forget their past. But Banshee literally has his earthly life wiped away and is reincarnated as Banshee, which I found was a really cool kind of connection there.
So here's a question, just to throw a monkey wrench in the whole thing. With Banshee remembering the old memories.
Correct. Yep. Yeah. That's where I'm kind of curious about that, because the other wrench that I would say is he created Lament for his exo frame. So I'm curious if the ornament is even applicable, but I did find the connection between the river Leth and the process of Banshee's transformation from Clovis. I found that somewhat similar in the way there, but you're right. That's why I'm curious how they're going to explain his getting memories back, because I thought they deleted them all.
Where's what card is it? It's the last card, isn't it, that talks about it?
It talks about 43 to Banshee 44.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's the Clovis 43 and it's the second half, because the first half is them shutting down the facility AI.
It also calls out poor Elsie, 815.
Yeah. Oh God.
That is so many uploads. Let's see here. Where I'm trying to find the actual
it's
small paragraph where
it's fairly close to the end.
So let's see here. It's interesting how he calls out in this book. It's his journal, yours if you want it, lock it away if you don't. It's mostly encrypted anyway. I read a bit, the kind of person I was, fear-driven, obsessed with legacy. I won't become that, not again. It's time for you and your siblings to rebuild the Bray legacy the right way. So this is right before he changes, right?
That's correct. He is still Banshee 43 at that point. Or not Banshee, sorry. He is Clovis 43. Yeah.
Yeah, Clovis.
Mm-hmm.
Because of that, he does have he still has a lot of the memories, even though it's not all of the memories, because he's looking at this journal and he knows who he was. But he still chooses for the complete wipe because he chooses to touch that memory loss, that the river of Leth, or what you had mentioned, essentially. Because he knows what he was before he goes into this.
Correct. I guess my argument against that is he knows Clovis as the same as anyone who's reading an autobiography knows him. Or is it biography or autobiography? I can always flip those. The person that writes their own
autobiography.
It's an autobiography.
Thank you. I always flip them. So like if you read an autobiography of Clovis Bray, you can see, like, you can get an idea of maybe the type of person, but even that is a polished, presentation of that individual to the outside world. That's different than saying he was Clovis.
I mean, you could still read, like, we read the journal and it's still ghastly.
Oh yes. No, I hate even bringing this up, but I mean, that's like reading Mein Kampf. Like, sure.
Oof.
It's a published thing that was supposedly published. It's still a horrific thing, not to mention it makes your head hurt because it's terribly written. But like, that's like, you can read there are autobiographies that do not put the writer in a good light, but that still doesn't mean that you are that person. Like you have a glimpse into the snapshot of the life of that person that was writing it at the time. But I mean, when you read about Clovis I being reactivated, he does not have the memories because he was reactivated in the middle of a battle against the Vex.
Right.
Now, that being said, it is also where we find that the facility AI does have the memories of Clovis.
And is still a jerk.
Oh, yeah. No, you're right. Which, I mean, right. Yes. But like the AI, what was it in Memories of Win 1, he's like, the talking robot head is just as cold as the old man was. What else would you expect from the psycho who died and made himself into an all-seeing AI? Here's hoping that the unconscious exo in front of us is nothing like the real thing.
Well, that comes into a whole nother question. Does the AI have a worse megalomania because of its ability to be all-seeing on Europa versus a singular point of the exo?
I could see that definitely being the case. I mean, we see that's kind of like you see with Rasputin too, right? Is Rasputin's like degree of seeing everything has given him a sense of, I mean, he refers to himself basically as a deity. And so like, which is why when the darkness came and it beat him, he was so shocked. So like, I see the similarity of the inflation of the ego because of the capabilities, if you will, of the frame that they're stored in.
The ego still doesn't match the size of them. Nope.
No. So I'm trying to find here in this entry real quick, because they broke the facility AI broke the protocol of the process of awakening Clovis I. And
strong arms the person into making it happen faster.
He threatened Wynn. He was like, because Wynn responded was like, well, Dr. Bray said that we shouldn't do that, and the facility AI is like, I'm the only Dr. Bray you take orders from. And so he then threatens Wynn that he's going to shut him down if he doesn't turn it on. Let's see. because then he goes on to say, once you've completed your training, there will be a shiny new toy waiting for you to commemorate your accomplishment, which is the original Lament sword.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but I think that was when Elsie actually showed back up, and
right.
then they had to leave because they were getting too close. Basically, the Vex were getting too close.
So if this is not, I mean, the purpose of this book obviously is not a redemption story per se.
I would agree with that, yes.
That being said, what is the purpose of this book from a writer's perspective? Market?
The point of this book is to humanize Banshee.
Ding ding.
The point, it's not, no one gives a shit about like Clovis. It's to give Banshee a backstory and to humanize Banshee and to link all of Clovis Bray's story, but to take the past from that and to link it to our future and our present, and to give us that link. And it's that uncomfortable feeling that when you see him, and it's a lot like it's analogous to what happens when someone becomes a guardian. And it's analogous to Crow's story. It runs parallel to Crow's story. So it helps us as people in this particular season, actually, when we see Crow and we're like, oh, we're so freaking mad because, this guy killed Cade. We were really upset, even though it happened 2 years ago at this point, or over a year ago. And like, it still kind of makes people mad a bit.
Just a bit.
Yeah, just a bit. I mean, the sting isn't there like it was. Like, it's still just kind of like, you're still mad about it, but you're kind of over it at this point because it's just been forever. You still miss Cade, but you're at the point where Crow is now a different person, and you've seen that he is distinct from Uldren. They are not the same. You've known Banshee since the beginning of Destiny, and now you've had this complete new story thrown at you that he is Clovis Bray. You're like, what?
Mm-hmm.
And I, like many people, made the mistake of just reading the last just the last chapter of this lore book and not the rest of it when it came out. So you just read that last spoiler where it's like, you read that Banshee is Clovis Bray and you're like, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
And then you're standing in the tower and you're looking at him, you're like, what monster are you? Because like at this point you've had like the collector's edition, you've read all of these things, you know what he's done, you've been through Europa, you've seen everything, and you're processing all these things, and so you're humanizing these characters, and it's making you feel things, and it's making you see it from the opposite perspective, that instead of having a character that you detested, that the story made you feel that forced you to like them. It's taking a character that you've liked and loved for 7 years at this point, and it suddenly forced you to hate them. Like,
it's forced you to question.
It really has, and it was masterfully done. And this is the lore book is not about questioning whether, like, is it a redemption arc? Is it not? Is it like, what is the meaning of life? Like, what's the meaning of, like, what is this person? And like, is this really like this person or is this other one? No, it's like, it's just a good story. It doesn't have to be more complicated than that. I think we don't have to. It's like so many times, and this is my frustration with a lot of stories sometimes, like we do it and other people do it too, is that you see something, you do deep dives into things and you try to get to the nitty-gritty of stories, but sometimes they're just good stories. And that's what this is. It's just a really good story.
I do think something that you touched on early on is something that was very deliberate of Bungie, in that Bungie used the story and Banshee as a way to help balance what was gonna happen with Crow. Because you have two opposites, right? You have somebody we've known forever, and you have somebody who we knew prior to becoming a guardian. And we've already forgiven Banshee because we've known him forever. And so your inclination is, even though you find out he's Banshee and he's starting to remember some of these things, that currently you question what's going on with him, but you still are more apt to forgive him because you knew him as Banshee for so long, versus Crow, who was Aldrin and who was an utter jerk during D1, killed Cade during Forsaken, and then comes back as Crow. And Crow is a completely different character, even though there's hints of the old prince in there. I think because of Banshee being there, it'll basically pave the way for people to understand Crow a little bit more and be more apt to forgive them.
Yeah.
Maybe not forgive Aldrin, but not hold any ill will to Crow.
Yeah. And I think that's the true purpose of this story when it comes down to it as a storytelling perspective. I think between this and the letter that Osiris puts in our mailbox, when we first get Crow and they say he's not Aldrin, like, don't shoot him in the face.
Yeah.
Like,
there's also the mission recently that dropped when Crow disappears at the end of the mission. And you assume, like, who was it that's in there? Osiris assumes that he just left you to hang, but Crow's actually working to hold off the celebrant.
Oh, and when you're doing, that's the big mission when you're in the Dreaming City. Yeah. You didn't really leave, did you? No, I would never do that.
Makes you question, though.
Yeah.
I think Bungie has been playing with the idea of questioning people's motives this season more than most seasons, as far as the story writing goes. Jay, what do you think, Blue?
I mean, like, I agree. I focus on the nitty gritties of the stories being told. That's just the way my brain works. So, like, I see what you guys are saying about the overarching piece of it being a parallel with Crow's story. I mean, I'm personally in the camp that's never had a problem with Crow. I mean, I didn't have a huge problem with Aldrin, to be honest, but the like I focus in because I'm much more interested on the story of Clovis. That's where my interest actually is, because it has a lot of weight to be potentially present with regards to not just the motivation of the characters within the Golden Age, which led to, motivations within the Dark Age and within the Collapse and within the City Age and all that, but it also has potential for revealing some information about characters that we don't have much about on origin purposes. It has potential for explaining the convergence of humanity or human technology and light. It has potential because it does the same with human technology and darkness. The thing is that if you are wanting to talk about parallels, we have a lot of parallels with Clovis's story and his megalomania with regards to what he did with the darkness and with the radiolarian fluid. You can technically take that in a different direction and look at some things with what could be done with light. And there's a theory that is really prevalent out there that, maybe that's where Ghost came from. I find that an interesting theory because the ramifications of if that theory is accurate in any form or fashion is much more severe than a lot of people think it. There's the the added difficulty here of like splitting personalities. And me personally, I find interest, or I'm always intrigued by the character's motivations, even the secondary character's motivations. If you introduce a character in a writing, I'm going to be the person who sits there and tries to figure out why the person is doing what they're doing, even if it is a side character. That's the way I read stories. So like I get the, like, this isn't the point of the story, and it's like, well, that's not the point of the story for you guys, sure. I would strongly disagree that it's not something to be considered, because I think the story as a large picture, sure, is a parallel, but there's also significant differences here that, if you don't take into account, will fracture much further up. You know, there's a lot of parallels between Banshee and every single Guardian out there because of the resurrection process. However, okay, yeah.
So here's the question then. You're spending a lot of time not refuting, but like arguing a little bit against the idea of this being a writer's tool to ease in Crow. What is the purpose of this story then? What is it? What was the use of this story from the writer's perspective?
The use of this story was, I mean, I'm not arguing that is what you guys are saying. It's designed to parallel the character of Crow. It's also picking up on one of the many characters that we have a lot of experience with that honestly we don't know anything about. Which that list is growing shorter, sure, but you know, we had zero information about Banshee before this story,
except for the fact that Banshee tried to log into an old
iPad, I mean, like, we had
with an old login.
Right, we had random scannables and the idle dialogue from him. That, you know, the idle dialogue makes a lot more sense even from the idle dialogue back in D1 that we had from him. You know, it makes sense. It puts it in a new context for sure. But of all the characters and all the vendors in the tower currently right now, Banshee was one of the only ones that we really didn't have an origin of. I mean, to be honest, we know quite a bit about the Vanguard. We know quite a bit about Shax now. Raul, we know a little bit about. We don't really know about his origins, but we know about his personality more so outside with the introduction of Ives. Tess, we know her story. Eva, we got her story. You know, we have, well, right. We have all these stories for all these vendors, but we don't have that for Banshee, which I think is also kind of the purpose, is also to round out the characters. And I mean, I think they did an amazing job with this. I'm also the person that you start throwing stuff in, like the word Leth, and I pick up that's connected to a mythological event. And that mythological event corresponds to the story purpose. So to me, the connections are, when I read stuff, I see connections, and I'm not going to make an argument strongly that the connections are necessarily the most important of them, but I can't deny that the connection is there. Which then, when I see that connection, it snowballs into other connections, right? And it makes me start thinking about, you know, what's going on here? What's the motivation for this purpose?
Your spinfoil hat.
Oh yeah, I mean, I live in it. I mean, you know that. I totally will spinfoil snowball myself into random connections. That being said, I'd like to think that I keep a pretty solid grip on what's actually happening here. But I mean, like, to me, the gossamer connections in the background of the story, to me, are much more interesting than the broad strokes that are so obvious, I guess, that's where I would come back. But that being said, take a quick break real quick for an ad, and then we'll be right back. All right, so I'm just catching up on chat real quick. So, yeah, I guess. What do you want to talk about the exotic quest at all? How that ties into this? Or thoughts on?
So the thing that I'd like to talk about is the writer's choice to release this lore in tandem, basically, with the quest, right? Like, we didn't have this. I don't think we had this beforehand, did we?
Yeah,
We
because
had pieces of it.
Well, you got
No. We got it through the exos.
Correct.
You had to pick up the exos to get the lore, right?
Technically, I got this book before the raid dropped. I think you could get. You might not have gotten the last one, but I mean, you got the brunt of this book before the raid dropped, because this was this was attached to the exo collectibles.
Okay. The fact that you really don't know the reveal at the end, though, until after the raid and Legacy drops, or the
Lament.
The sword Lament drops. That was terrifying, because I initially thought, oh my gosh, they're going to make Banshee evil. Why? Did you guys have any initial thoughts about it?
Like I remember when I first started reading this, I was like, oh, I have a few theories of where this is going. I didn't ever think I didn't ever think of Banshee going dark in that sense. But that's also mostly because the disconnect that I had between the entire Lament quest and the ending here, which is the question I still don't really have an answer to, is they wiped his memories, but now he's remembering them. It's like, so you did a half-assed job? Like what happened there? So like, and I mean, I won't say that I don't see it as a potential for Banshee to go dark. Like, especially if like Clovis uses, like, I don't know, if Clovis tries to use him as a mobile platform or whatever. But then that being said, if that happens, I would argue that's not Banshee anymore. It's Clovis overriding him.
It's a hard line to draw where the one personality stops and one begins.
See, I disagree. I don't think it's a hard line to draw at all.
Well, you like things black and white.
No, not at all. I just think that in regards to this, the minute that you start having experiences separate from the other entity, that is a personality that is unique and different from that other personality. It's very similar to I don't know if I'm not sure if everyone's watched Altered Carbon, but there is an event in the near the end of the first season in which they basically create duplicate copies of the same person in two physically different bodies. And it's interesting to see like they do this and then they kind of leave them and then they come back together and they start working, like they work together basically. But it's interesting to see one of them who dies, the other one recognizes that they die, but it's recognizing that it's a separate, unique person. It's not them. Like, they didn't die, but they did die, like, in that sense. So I guess, I don't know. I never really thought of, I never gave weight to the idea that that Banshee would go bad. I don't know. Orchid, what about you?
I mean, it didn't occur to me either. The only thing that I thought, because He doesn't start regaining his memories until after the raid dropped and the raid was completed. So I thought maybe because you dropped security that something happened.
And AI.
Because you unlock the raid, because you're actually like messing around in security and you're messing around with other stuff in the actual Deep Stone Crypt and you're touching things you shouldn't be touching. And so like I don't know. Like the way that they're actually like cloud saving together, I don't know. Stuff is happening. You know what? They're robots and this is space magic and stuff happens and we don't know enough about the way the system actually works because the game is still being very cagey about that. So we can only make suppositions at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. That's how this works. It's all supposition and guessing.
I mean, that's half the fun of it.
It is half the fun of it. Yeah. But we don't know. So there you go. Here's your answer.
It would be interesting to see the options that come out of this because Bungie is very, especially this writing team, I feel is very, very clever in how they're choosing to utilize the options that they have in front of them. And so if they choose to, they could choose to have this be a darker story, or they could choose to leave it where it's at. I'm more inclined to think that's what they're going to do, is just leave the Clovis story kind of where it is.
I to move on that.
To move on to the Zavathun story and the when Mara comes back and everything, because that's likely going to happen hopefully soon. But it is an option, and they love their little threads.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I see this as I hate saying it, but a filler story. But it also is exactly that too. What you just said, I think, Green, is that it's a loose thread that they can come back and pluck on.
I don't think it's a filler story.
I mean, okay, so here, hang on.
Are you talking about like?
Let me clarify.
Lament in
filler
general,
story as means of it is putting content in there to help bridge something, but in and of itself, it's not a hugely significant part.
Well, you can't have every single story in a game be a hugely significant part,
right?
Because then nothing would be significant.
I don't mean that negatively. I mean it like, I mean that you have to have the story that happens when a hero goes from point A to point Z. You have to have all the letters between too.
I mean,
if you're gonna, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think that having Banshee's story or having Banshee being tied to Clovis is a fairly significant thing because it brings the past forward in a different way, because we see the past in front of us. We see Banshee now in front of us every day when we go to the tower, and we see that was Clovis, even though that's not him now. It's bringing forward the consequences of something that happened prior and bringing it to light.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That, and I think that in itself is important in a different way, just because it's not explaining a mechanic or explaining like why Exos do, X, Y, Z thing, or like it doesn't explain why like ganked up Vex Juice does a certain thing, or I just like saying that.
Vault of Glass is coming up.
I know, I'm so excited. You have no idea. And just it just because it doesn't explain like a certain way something in the game works, it doesn't mean that it isn't significant in a different way. And I think character exploration is important in a different way, and characterization is the thing that ties the story together. So I think this is a very significant piece in the actual like game and storytelling itself, because Banshee is a significant character, even though like he was just a guy that stood in the tower at a table that we would go talk to, and he would give us stuff. Like, I don't know. he'd give us weapons parts, and we would go talk to him once in a while, but he's a constant that we've had for so long, that we've had people come and go in the tower. We've had like Eris Morn come and go, and Cade has come and gone in our lives, but Banshee's always been there. I think that's really important. So it was high time that we really explored like who he was as a character. So no, like this was very important as a story. This was very foundational. Suck it, Blue.
I'm leaving that in when I edit, just saying.
We'll just, it's okay. We don't have to agree on everything. We can agree to disagree on some things. How long can we make this silence go on before it gets too awkward for Orchid?
2 seconds. 3, maybe.
Well, so how long is it going to be till we get you into the raid?
Who? Me or Orchid?
You.
Yeah, I'm not going to.
You're the only one who hasn't done it.
That's a terrible idea. I'm not doing that. Moving on.
Blue, I have my face cam on and I'm wearing a hat right now, so you need to do
Listen,
the raid.
Okay. Here, to be completely 100% transparent, I had a response to you both trying to pressure me into the raid. So, live up to that response. That was not my bargain. That was all green.
That was the bargain. That was the bargain, was a face cam hat, and I did it. So you need to do the raid now.
I was not involved in this contractual agreement between Green and Orchid.
You have to write a legal agreement to get you to do the raid with Elemist, Orchid, and I, and we do a lowercast raid?
No, because I don't care. I mean, to be honest, I don't care about the raid. What I'm actually chasing right now is this stupid Master Empire hunt.
Oh, right. We have to help you with the Master Empire hunt.
Yeah, help me with the Master Empire hunt, and I'll do the raid.
I got you. I got someone who can help us. I have Australians.
I have Australians.
Yes.
I got a fleet of Australians who know how to do this shit. That's fine.
But I'm being told to ignore Orchid. She's trying to get fired by the chat.
Chat. Gosh darn it. They're calling me out. They know my ways. They know I'm trying to get fired.
Oh man.
Yeah. Black Flex is working as Aussies.
So, final thoughts on the book. Green.
Final thoughts. Concise. I think that the book was a good tool and that it was the timing of the book aligning with Crow was very well done. And that I am terrified to see what comes of Banshee.
What about you, Orchid?
I love this book because I think it is good characterization, and it is actually an exciting book to read because when you actually read the book itself, you're never standing still. You're always in kind of a sense of panic, running from point A to point B to point Q to point Z, like all the way through the book, because like you're at this point where you're not reading it from any one individual. You're always reading it from a different perspective. So like one of them, a guy that's been reset because he's been on the front line, so he dies a lot, and you're like, oh my god, like this is how it is to be like in front in the vault, like in the glassway, like trying to go farm stuff like on, like the Forge Star, or this is the way it is, like you're trying to escape and like save all these humans, but Clovis Bray is being like a real jackass, or like there's all these different little tiny aspects, and there's all this like very humanization that you get from all these exos. And so yeah, they're programmed to be human, but they are the most human out of all of us. And so out of that, I think it makes it a really beautiful story. And so it's one of my favorite, if not my favorite, lore books this season.
I agree with you. I like the way that the story definitely grounds these characters, and points to the humanity within them, and also the inhumanity in others. I think that is a very big thing that they succeeded here. I think that the tone, I agree with you also in that too. Like the tone, the sense of, oh God, I gotta go. You know, that from the very, very first entry to really the second to last. The last entry is not really that you don't get that franticness, but all the way through, you know, that entire like from the Glassway strike, or not the strike, but the Glassway battle, to the battle against the facility AI, to the final pushing back of the Vex in the Glassway, and the success that they experienced, that is made that much more potent because you see the loss that they acquire, or the loss that they suffer throughout that entire process. And that also culminates in a really powerful conclusion of the one that has been alive the least, really sacrificing everything to fully defeat the, you know, one of the antagonistic forces within the story. I think that really drives home the sacrifice that Banshee made in that choice from 43 to 44. So I mean, yeah, I agree. I think it's well written, for sure. I really enjoyed reading this, and you know, I think if you don't want to read it, again, we kind of mentioned this at the start, but Guardians of Lore have read this. This was, you said 96 and 90 episodes, 96 and 97?
Episode 95 and 96. Okay, and we did the actual sword itself in a little lore, which was the episode after those, so okay. Episode 97.
So definitely, if you guys want an audio reading with Orchid, definitely check those out.
That's me, guys.
It's a me, Orchid.
It's a me. Hey, it's Orchid.
So shout outs. Green, what do you got for us?
My shout out goes to Orchid, and she could check Twitter to figure out why.
Oh no.
Blue.
Sorry. Handling something in chat.
Yeah, I did. Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, no, my big shout out is to both of these lovely ladies that are podcasting with me and putting up with my really stupid fascination on minute details. And just, I don't know, like, yeah, I think that's it.
Orchid?
Oh no, Green, what is this?
These are timestamps.
Oh, these are all the times I swore.
Uh-huh.
Sorry. Can't help it. I get real fired up. At least it's not like Orchid's getting fired. I wish I was getting fired, Black. Can't say what I usually do. Or Green would have to just bleep out the next 5 minutes. Actually, I am going to shout out my other co-host, Elemis. So, Elemis, thank you so much for being you and putting up with me all the time, and for being like the emotional tether to these stories, because without you, I think a lot of the very real part of these lore books would be missed. So thank you. You are really awesome. So shout out to you.
Well, as always, I want to thank you for your time. And until next time, remember, with wisdom we conquer, stand strong, stand tall, and keep exploring. And make sure you mark timestamps for Orchid.
when you a minute 50 we were in and you had already cursed. I was like, okay, this is gonna. You didn't curse at all the first episode.
I know.
You were so clean the first episode.
No, I knew I was done for. I was like,
and then second episode.
I know.
It's fine. Like, no, you're good. Sorry. You're good. It's just cracking me up. I'm like,
Rip.
You're giving, that's fine. This is just giving me practice on paying attention and making sure I'm catching them.
Guys, chat, you're a bunch of chuckle fucks.
Yep. Rip Orchid.
I really just needed to get that out.
Here, Orchid. You can see the progress.
Hold up. Oh, it looks so good. Hold it up for everybody else to see. Oh, that looks great.
Are you planning on doing another row of that, or is that the last row?
I think I can.
The Hawkmoon Screech. Actually, guys, we have the bling splat from last season. Is my censor sound.
Which, by the way, is that in the folder?
It
Blue.
Okay. Splat.
Yeah, I think
it was me trying to explain what happened with my transmat.
I think I can do another row, if not maybe two. I don't know about the second one. Like that might be getting a little bit too close. Yeah, I know. I had to transfer all my emblems from my vault onto a cross stitch pattern because Orchid was getting really angry at me. So I just deleted everything.
Blue, do you know what? You're going to have to set that on fire because your vault is too full and your emblems are too in the open and in real life now. And I'm really uncomfortable with it. So
I just delete everything in my vault. Just
delete. No, you're going to have to delete everything in real life too. So you should just set it on fire.
I hear Pins sent you a good picture of his vault.
Oh my god, I almost lost my shit.
Did he delete everything?
He's like, look at this, Orchid. I'm like,
I was talking to him, and he's like, wait.
He's like, what are rolls? And I'm like,
you guys are. I mean, I went through.
I have like 400 guns in my vault. Like, what's people that I'm like, they don't play Crucible. They don't care about god rolls. Like,
I play Crucible. I just don't give a shit. I'm like, I do the challenges that I'm supposed to do, and then I'm done. I'm like, I don't care.
You guys are so.
I think Greed. I think you were the one that was like, but what about the shotgun bounties? I'm like, I pick up I get like 5 blue shotguns every time I play. I just use one of them.
Yeah, god rolls get sunset now. No need to chase. Bye effort. Yeah, I know, right?
I mean, well, but that's why I
does the sunset affect just the power?
No, it affects the whole gun. Goodbye, gun. Goodbye.
Wait, but they're not deleting the gun.
You can still use the weapons in Crucible.
Yeah.
But any of the in-game content that requires light leveling, you will not be able to use them and be competitive.
Trials, Iron Banner.
That's probably that succinctly explains why I have not paid attention to any of that conversation.
Yeah. To be fair, you will not be able to level your favorite scout rifle up for years and years and years and still use it in PvE because PvE is going to level up, but the gun isn't. So you're still going to have to change your weapons. It's just going to be not as
wielding Hawkmoon.
But I mean, but like
I
you
put
could still
into my Mida because that's how much I like it.
I like Hawkmoon.
But like within standard PvP,
I put it in
that's
Mida.
Still going to be
Mida's
a god roll is still going to be a god roll because light level doesn't matter, right?
Sorry, you were both talking, so I was getting mixes of both. What was that?
In standard PvP, if you have a good roll, it's still going to be a good roll because light levels don't matter in PvP.
In basic quick play and those kind of things, yes, you'll be fine. The meta will still shift around it, like
like
they'll
archetypal
still nerf stuff around it, but it won't matter it matters for end game content primarily.
Yeah, I mean, okay.
As far as Mida, Orchid, did I tell you I got the catalyst?
Oh no, you didn't. Good job. Yeah. That means you got to what? You got to 5,500?
I didn't finish Legend, but I got up in the last 2 ranks.
Nice. Congratulations. I think you got to 5,000 then.
I think that's remember.
Where you have to get to.
I didn't finish.
You have to get up there to
get
it.
I was up pretty high.
Yeah, it doesn't drop until like 5,000, I think. But congratulations! Yay! It actually doesn't do much.
Yeah, I know. That's why I haven't bothered messing with it.
It's kind of trash. But Mida is really good right now because they tweaked it a little bit. So I've been running Mida and Mida Mini tool, and I've been just like really just driving people insane because that's the only way to stay away from getting frozen to death all the time is to use Mida and map people with it.
There you go. That's how I played D1.
Yeah, so I've just been doing that.
If you help me with PvE stuff, I'll help you with PvP stuff. That's actually where I like to play, but it's been a while since I've liked to play there. I'm not too concerned about it. And time to edit.
Did mine upload?
I don't know yet. I haven't looked back for second ones.
Yeah, I think it did.
I got the first one downloaded already. Okay. Blue, is there... So Whiskey Run is our outro, or is it... Whiskey Run's our intro. So.
Yeah, hang on. Let me see. So if you go into the component files folder, I have all the intros and outros already mixed and ready.
Okay, you have them labeled.
But I did not put... It's in there. Oh, wait, I think... I'll have to check. The bleep bloop is yours.
Bleep bloop.
Or no, yours is boop. Yours is boop. Failsafe boop. Bleep boop is mine, and then I can't remember. Ding.
Hey, Moshi.
I'll have to double check after we get offline and make sure that that's the right one.
Heard Orchid's in here, cousin. Oh God. He just shows up to see me cuss.
I mean, it's not a thing to worry about when we're not recording.
I know.
F's in chat for all the weapons we lost along the way. F's in chat for all the cursing I have to edit out of this episode.
Guys, I want to see a wall of fucks for all the none that I have.
But we don't have any.
Nice. F is for fuck. Yes, exact.
F is for all the fucks.
What are you doing? Not you. I'm talking to Moshi. Moshi, do you like my hat? It's a panda. I actually got this hat at a San Francisco Giants game that I went to with my brother forever ago because Pablo Sandoval's nickname is Panda. Mm-hmm. And so they used to sell panda hats at each baseball game.
I have never been to a pro game of any kind.
Really? Mm-hmm. Oh. Yeah, I love baseball. My family's a big baseball family. So we used to go to San Francisco Giants games a lot when I was a kid.
I grew up in Kansas. There's technically no sports team in Kansas that's a pros team.
None?
Kansas City Chiefs is Missouri.
We have soccer
it's
now.
on the other side of the river?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
Is Sporting, is that Missouri too?
I'm pretty sure the Sporting is
I'm
on
pretty
the
sure they're on
Missouri side.
Kansas. I thought they were on
Because that's
Kansas.
the soccer team, right?
Yeah. All right, let's see.
No. Yeah, Kansas City is split into 2 different states.
Yeah, Kansas City, like the Sporting side, like the side that everybody knows about, is Missouri. It's not actually Kansas.
No.
Yeah, it's same as.
I have a friend who lives in Kansas
There's
City.
a couple cities that have, or a couple areas that do that.
But she lives in the Missouri side.
Competitive Rocket League. I mean, I like competitive esports. I watch Overwatch a lot.
I love Overwatch.
Oh, right? They're located. They are
Watching
located in
Overwatch
Missouri.
is fun.
Alamis, when have you been to Wichita? I went to college in Wichita.
I flew over Wichita in a plane once.
That's not much.
Like going to Wichita? Like thousands of feet up.
Wichita is, I think, still considered the largest city in Kansas, isn't it?
It counts. Nice. I've totally been to Wichita.
No.
Mashi said it counts.
Back when I was in 4th grade. Oh, dear Lord. Why were you in Wichita in 4th grade? Did you live there for 2 or 3 months? Oh, I am sorry.
Why would you want to live there?
I lived there for 5 years. It's not awesome. It's there.
It's there.
It's not awesome. Yeah. No. Not good times. I lived in a lot of different areas of Wichita. Airspace counts.
Airspace counts are nice.
The moral of the story is fuck Wichita. Exactly.
I've been to a lot of places if airspace counts. Guys, that means most of us have been in the North Pole, if you've flown over the North Pole before.
Everything I know about Kansas I learned from Supernatural.
What?
That's Black Flag.
Yeah. I mean,
what?
You're not necessarily wrong.
Okay. I mean, I didn't know that. I'm going to assume that that's true.
So I grew up near a town called Liberal, Kansas, which was a misnomer, that their claim to fame was having the original Dorothy's house from the movie Wizard of Oz.
Oh, really?
It's a very scary museum.
That's terrifying. I don't know how I feel about that.
Terrified is a good one. Liberal, Kansas, Mosh Pat. Yeah. It was named after one farmer who was liberal with his water, because well water was something that they would charge for when they were crossing the prairie, crossing the plains, and one guy in this area was liberal with his water, so they named it that.
Oh, I mean, we have 2 places in Oregon that are funny. We have Boring, Oregon. And I'm like, why would you name it Boring? But it's accurate. It's an accurate descriptor of the town. And we have Drain.
Drain, Oregon?
Drain as in the thing that water goes into in your sink.
So I grew up in Plains, Kansas.
Plains. I mean, that is a description of a thing that is in Kansas.
Yeah.
If I think of Kansas, I do think of rolling plains. That is the thing I think of.
They are very creative.
But Drain, Oregon is probably like one of my favorite places just because the name is so stupid.
Isn't there Burnt Corn, Texas, or Burnt Corn, Alabama?
Arkansas?
Yeah.
Arkansas. Oh God. Like when Log was tweeting the other day because he was trying to trigger Felicia and saying Arkansas instead of Arkansas, because I think she's from Arkansas, and it was triggering me and like everyone else in the United States. I was just like,
so I grew up with family members who would say it's Arkansas just to fuck with people.
That's not how you say it.
There's a river that goes by in between Liberal and Plains, Kansas. That's the Arkansas River.
Arkansas.
Kansas.
Arkansas.
The West was settled by creative people. I mean, there are some towns that are creative, just not the towns near me where I grew up. American geography troubles me.
Why is this Kansas and this one is not Arkansas? Because that's not how it works. It's Arkansas. Explain, America. Explain. Explain!
Pretty sure Arkansas was like ratified first, wasn't it?
I think so. We could look it up. I'm sure there is dancing. If there isn't, there should be.
So Arkansas was 1836.
I want to run for mayor of that place. Freedom fries, America explained.
Yeah, Arkansas was ratified like 30 years before Kansas was.
Oh, well, that explains a lot. I mean, what else do you need to explain? Is it pronounced fucking though? Not fucking.
Probably, especially if it has the two little dots over the top.
Yeah, if it's an umlaut. Umlaut. The or
Hi, I'm from fucking Austria.
That sounds like an Australian saying Australia wrong. They're just doing it wrong. Like, good job, guys.
Let's see here.
So funny.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's see. So I'm going to use the noise gate. I'm using the new tools. Noise gate on Orchid stuff. I'm going to use it on everybody's stuff, but applying noise gate.
Oh yeah, just ask Blue to pronounce umlauts.
Umlau.
They actually changed the name of the town to Fugging. Are you serious? Okay. Bye, Blue.
We gotta shut the stream off then.
No.
Yeah.
You committed sin on Twitter, Pat. Are you serious? What did you do? Great.
But yeah, I gotta take off because I got an early morning because we have family now that we're out of quarantine. They came up and are wanting to have Christmas, so they're all here.
Cool.
Yeah, benefit of being
bye, guys.
Stuck indoors for a month.
Yeah.
Well, good luck with that.
Oh, it'll be fine.
Have a good night, everybody.
Just means I have to get up in the morning.
Bye, stream. Thanks for showing up.
Yeah.
Thank you, stream. We'll see you next week.
Yee! With hopefully face cam.
With hopefully.